most 80 miles due west of Lubbock.
Okay. Got you pretty well ID'd.
Well, Eddie's back. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm plugged directly into the tower, and like I was telling Billy, T-Mobile sucks.
My daughter and her family have T-Mobile, and they have a hard time keeping signal in places that I don't have a problem with AT&T. She said, but I can't afford AT&T.
Yeah, we went to them because they hold our telephone, and when we were displaced for Hurricane Ida, we kept losing our telephone, and we moved over to T-Mobile, and now that I'm not linked to my telephone, I don't even answer the thing. Look, it's right there. The only calls it gets is spam.
Yeah.
Because I've got a note on it says, you need me, do it another way. Don't call me on the phone.
We don't have a landline anymore. We cut that.
We did too. And my wife said, what about faxes? I said, go ahead and count on one hand how many faxes we sent last year. Okay. Yeah.
You just scan them and send them as a PDF.
Yeah, that's what I end up having to do. My printer has fax capability, but I don't have, like I said, I don't have a landline, and I don't have anything running to it. Its printer is hooked up wireless. So the fax machine does me no good without a landline.
Yeah.
No. Mine went to the attic where all the good stuff goes. Yeah. I think it's right next to the VCR.
If I look like I'm looking up in the air, it's because my laptop is down here, and that's where the camera is. But the monitor went out on it. Actually, it's the ribbon cable. So yeah. I have no display on my laptop. I hooked it up to the TV in the den. So I'm having to look up here to watch.
That's a good move. Yeah, I'm in the shop, and I don't have any heat driving into the shop from the house. And my wife is a little mad at me because I've shut down the heat in the house to, I think it's in the living room, the studio, and the bedroom. That's it. Because there's no need heating all this house and letting it sneak out. It's an old house.
Yeah.
So, and don't really need it. I mean, last night she put the heat on in the bedroom. It really wasn't needed. I got up around 1 o'clock and turned everything off, that was in there, because she said, I need the warmth. All right. Hey, I'm working on what?
Go ahead.
I'm working on a few things. Tonight we're going to have a little gallery of ornaments. But we were speaking last week about other galleries, things we can have a little fun with. Beads of Courage is going to run a little longer than all the others because there's a little work in Beads of Courage, and you need to meet some standards. And I think we found somebody to get the coins for us that you put on the beads. The boxes, they're not required, but it's a nice accent. But gnomes, that came up in a conversation with somebody the other day online, and he was talking about they did a ton of gnomes, and they tried to sell them at a craft fair, and they just didn't go. And I said, what was the craft fair about? And he says, Christmas. I said, okay, think about it. They really don't appreciate what you've done. It's a cute little item, but they're looking for a gnome that might have a red and green beard or Santa's cap or something else on. I said, but when you get down to the rest of the year, they can be fun to have a good time with. And I told my wife about it. She says, okay, do a gnome and then put real animal fur on it. Real fur. She's got a box full. I don't know where she gets it. And, put for the two parts, and it'll be rather unique. So I got her even interested in it. That doesn't happen a lot. But gnomes might be one, and here's another one. Show me your crotch for Valentine's. Are you all right, Dave?
Yeah, fine. I love it.
No,
I'll
what could
have-
be a better?
I'll have to turn
That
a-
was funny. That was funny.
I'll have to turn another heart-shaped crotch bow for Valentine's then.
Yeah. But I mean, that would be the theme. Show me your crotch. I teased about it last week. I think I got a lot of input on that. And said, oh, I know the input was, don't tell Doug Rowe.
Yeah.
I wrote it down. I got XXX Doug Rowe. Now I remember why I put that note there. I'm fearful of what Doug might come up with. I thought the bikini was bad enough, but it might be an interesting spring. But as I said tonight, looking at ornaments, I think Scott Hampton's doing our demonstration tonight.
He is.
Yeah,
Yes, sir. I sure am.
there he is.
Speak of the devil.
The devil's in the house.
Yeah,
I got those.
I
Hey,
hit,
no, what the
I-
heck? Look, hey, look,
I hit that admin.
I'm watching you guys. Yes, sir.
I
I'm
hit the admit button before I realized who it was.
You have to be careful about that, Billy.
I know.
Never know what dogs are barking at the door. So
You know, Scott came to my live yesterday. I did a live turning.
oh, good. All right. I'm trying to get up the video of you dancing, and I can't. My web line is a little bit light tonight, so I don't think I can get it up.
The Santa dance, the Santa dance.
Actually, it was Santa doing the Wednesday dance, but
Yeah.
I was really okay with the dance, Scott. But did you see what was at his feet?
I don't remember. No.
A
Goodness.
hula hoop.
Oh no, that was an extension cord.
It looked like a hula hoop, Scott. I didn't want to keep watching because he picked up that hula hoop. You know, my brain problem really magnifying. I'd fry out.
No, that was just an extension cord in a circle.
You're dancing around it, man. I'm glad you didn't trip.
The fat
No,
boy
that's-
don't do hula hoops.
We don't either. Don't make a size big enough to fit us.
You know, I'm afraid he gets stuck.
I know we're all about that age when hula hoops was probably a fad back in the late 50s, early 60s.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I remember my sister telling my dad, "I want one of those." And the next day, he made her one out of a garden hose. Didn't really work.
No, a little too flimsy.
Yeah. I went over to that sister's house a couple of weeks ago, and she put up her tree. She's really nuts on this seasoning decorations. I mean, they go whole hog. My mom was the same way, and she had a manger under the tree, and I built that manger back in 1961. And Molly said, "How do you remember that?" I said, "Because it was all cut out by hand. In 1962, my dad allowed me to use the power saws." And you know, and I could say, okay, I got them all the fingers. Our power saw was a 6 1/8 inch Black and Decker, 6-inch Black and Decker, with an arbor hole of 1 1/8 inches.
Wow.
And there was only one place in town, the Black and Decker store, where you could buy that. And that was around the corner from where I went to school. I'd pop in there and see all these other Black and Decker tools, and I said, wow, look at that, man. We can get this to do that and do this. And if I came up with something like that, my dad was an excellent salesman for a milk company, and they'd do these contests, sales contests, and they'd come and ask him what he'd like to have up for the prize. Because he almost won it almost every single time, but they wanted to have something really nice to make the other guy shoot at it. And I remember one year he had a butter contest, and I'd been working with him a couple hours every morning to help him out, and I'd seen a lot of butter moving. And I asked him, I said, when are you going to push the butter? And he says, oh, I'll get mine a couple of days for the end of the sale. I said, what are you going to do with like 1,000 pounds of butter? I got a friend that owns a grocery store around the corner. I'll put it in his freezer and I'll sell it the rest of the year. So those other guys didn't know what they were up against. They really didn't. We when Hurricane, I don't remember the name of it, a long time ago, maybe it was Betsy, came through and it knocked the power out everywhere. He went out to the plant to see what he could get from there that he could sell, and he found orange juice. Even at the plant, it's not stored under refrigeration because it doesn't need refrigeration. He loaded the truck up, came and got me. We went and sat on a corner in an area where his route was, and sold that truck full of orange juice. And it was 2 bottles for $1. And we were going. We're barnstorming. I mean, people come up and get $5 worth, $10 worth, and just cleaning it out. And some local councilman came up and said, wait. That's supposed to be 44 cents each. I'm looking for my change. And my dad looked at me, he says, okay, as soon as I get 12 cents together, I'll give it to you. Stand right over here. And guy stood there for a little while before he realized there was no change coming around. But we were just stuffing the money in our pockets, and my dad was so happy. Most of those people were his customers, and he couldn't bring them milk because he didn't have any place to put it refrigerated. His trucks wouldn't get refrigerated because there was no power at the plant. And he said, you know what? We're gonna go back and empty that place out. We went back twice one day and 1 trip and a half the next day. And because we emptied that place out, nobody else thought about it. He had 5 kids to raise. He didn't have a lot of time to think about it. Dave, did you get online for the recording?
I am online recording. Yep.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Quite welcome, sir. Thank you for the recent newsletter. That was awesome turnaround. And can we see how many views are on that when you post it to your site? No? Okay. Not that important. I mean, it's out there for everybody. At physical therapy the other day, I was in the pool, and guy came up and said, man, you look just like a guy that was doing a video yesterday about wood turning. I said, really? And he says, but he had hair. Said, stick around, some more is going to fall out soon, so you're like a sample. But you look just like him. I love it. I just said, really? I didn't want, I think my wife corrected it later on, but we first got started dating about 33 years ago. We were sitting in a hamburger restaurant, and a guy walked by the table, and he came back, dragged the chair up, and sits down. And he says, look, I'm going fishing tomorrow down in Lafitte. Can you give me a couple of tips on where to go? My wife said, what is this? And I said, well, I do a radio and TV program on outdoors. And the guy recognized me, and he wanted some tips on my favorite fishing spot. So I'm drawing a map on a napkin and all for him. And they had cloth napkins. I just ruined the cloth napkin, give it to him. And he was so happy. I hope he caught some fish, really did. If he went in a general area where I was telling him, he would have done well. It's in Lafitte, which is just south of New Orleans. And Hurricane Katrina almost wiped out that town. I mean, it took out the cross bridge. You know, it would get probably 5,000 homes from one side of Bayou to the other. And it destroyed a lot of other stuff. They're bouncing back. They're tough down there. If you know what a soft shell crab is, that's where the best in the world are raised, right there. It's hard to go down there and not eat good. Really hard not to eat good down there.
My brother had a business back then outside of Houston. He took a tractor and a couple of crews with him and helped drag trees off of houses. He cut up this one 3-foot wide walnut, called me and asked me if I wanted some of it. I said, "Is a pig's butt pork?"
I know what was going on.
I was up in Ohio at the time. It took me a little while to come down and get it, but I got it.
They took down Osage Orange about 4 doors down, and I went and got a chunk of the Osage Orange, but my lathe was out in the blown out shop, and we hadn't figured out how to get it into or really planned on getting in the house yet. And I gave it away. Guy came by looking to get some cutters, and we were trying to dwindle down our inventory at the time, and you know, I said, "Neil, but I can't get you those cutters, but I'll give you a piece of Osage Orange." I thought I gave him candy at Christmas time. I mean, this dude didn't know what to do. He said, I'm gonna go home and make. I'm gonna go home. You know, he couldn't figure out what he's gonna make out of it. And I said, "There's more branches down the street." I heard his truck stop down there. They probably cleaned out the front of the property for him. We had a willow across the street, and I know guys from the old club I used to belong to came by and got that willow. I put an alert on their website. You know, hey, this is where this tree's down, this is where that tree's down. That club doesn't do that anymore. They've gotten a little private. So I'd feel bad if we had a newsletter and we told people you can't see it unless you remember.
Yeah.
I really think that's the wrong way to go. Yeah. We're going to tell them a secret about turning. We're going to talk about new wood.
Yeah, a newsletter is a really good way to introduce the club to prospective members. You get a feel for what the club's like and what they do, and how active they are, and the sorts of things they do. You know, as a club. I mean, I think it's a great outreach tool, if you will, and it's really silly.
It is. I was president of the club for almost 10 years, and I developed their first website. And the thing was, the producer of the website was an extremely talented man. He would post the newsletter to the website before it would be sent to the membership. I mean, as soon as he finished it out and dotted the I's and crossed the T's, he put it out there, and he put it all on the website. So you could go back almost 20 years if you wanted to know. And he had a cross reference if you want to know what happened here and there. And Bob turned a hat, and this guy did this and that. He had it all worked out. It was beautiful. And we did flyers. We put flyers out in all the places where you buy wooden tools, inviting people to come join us. Just if you can't make it, join us by the website. And we got some pretty good turners out of it. In fact, one old man joined. His son is still in that club. He was in his 80s when he passed on. He was the finest spindle turner I'd ever seen. I mean, just he'd give Cade a run for his money. He would.
Oh,
Yeah. That's a strong statement. Oh, I don't know if y'all saw it, but Cade's cash was on a Facebook today. He was sitting with Santa Claus.
Mhm.
And I think
yeah,
he
it
knew.
sure is.
Yep, I think he was knew it too early for Christmas, because he was sitting there like,
Yeah, he'll probably be on tonight.
good. You in the house cooking
Yes.
dinner?
Oh, no, I was, well, kind of making dinner. I was pouring me a beer.
Oh, okay. So you got the important stuff out the way.
German,
yeah.
German dinner.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And
far too
that would be
many
pretty,
years
a
in
pretty
Europe,
normal thing.
right?
Well, Matt, I guess you're getting ready for the big push up there, huh?
Yeah, when I was looking at the radar a couple of days ago, I didn't think we were going to get it. I thought it was going to skirt me to the north, but then I was checking this afternoon, and yeah, Friday's going to be a crazy day here. So blizzard
Yeah, it sure
conditions,
is.
6 inches of new snow.
Yep.
But the hard part is going to be the wind chill, because we're supposed to drop down into single digits, like 6 or 8 or something Friday night. And with high winds
Yeah.
and blowing snow, it's going to be really nuts. So
Yeah, and it's supposed to hit like between 12 and 3 o'clock when it goes from like 30 to 0 for you guys up there. It's going to be brutal.
I'm sending
Yeah.
it to you, Matt.
what's that, Scott?
I'm sending it to you. It never got above 0 today.
Oh man, I can imagine it's there now, eh?
Yeah, it's just starting to snow a little bit. You can feel it in the air.
I know what that feels like.
Yeah.
Hey, Eddie,
Billy Dillard, it's going to
your,
snow in
co-host-
Harahan tomorrow, Billy.
It's always snowing in Harahan.
So
Eddie,
I live a whole town away from Harahan now. I got to make that clear, okay? I don't like them. I don't like them.
The property values are much higher in Harahan.
I was talking to a buddy of mine up in Western Canada today. Minus 38.
Whoa.
That's the temperature. That's not what it feels like.
yeah.
Wow, it's a dry cold though.
Yep,
Yeah.
We're not supposed to get above 0 tomorrow with 40-mile-an-hour winds, so I'm really looking forward to it.
yeah, you'll have minus 20s.
Well, with the kind of winds y'all are expecting up there, it doesn't matter if you only get an inch, you're not going to be able to see anything because it'll still be blizzard conditions. It'll be blowing this way.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
supposed to be blizzard conditions most of tomorrow afternoon.
You better have a treadle lathe.
Or
We
a
don't-
generator.
We don't lose power very often. Most of our power up here is buried, so we don't lose it very often.
That's good.
I spent,
Hey, Eddie, can you set me
Hey,
up
yes.
for co-host, please?
oh, I
Set me up
did.
for co-host.
Yes, sir, I will
Dang.
do right now.
Robert Hodge says it's getting a little chilly in Houston, 48 degrees. It's 46 here already, Robert. I don't want to hear it.
I spent about 3/4 of a winter in Wordsmith, Michigan, or Ascota, Michigan. And I got called away in February 8th, 1972, to go to Guam. We flew from Michigan to Pensacola, Florida, to San Francisco to Guam. We weren't allowed off the plane. They refueled and everything else. Why they wouldn't let us get away. And we got to Guam. It was 84 degrees. Now, where I was at, you couldn't get 84 degrees if you put your hands on a light bulb. 3 days later, everybody was sick.
I believe
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. It's weeks like this, whether y'all got coming in here, that I'm really glad I got to leave Ohio.
Yeah.
I kind of enjoy it. And
I
you guys have
hated
seen
being
my-
trapped up there.
You guys have seen my dogs. I mean, I'm good. So
No,
this is snow dog weather. So
I hate it.
Yeah. I bet your dogs are enjoying it.
I'm more than
Yeah.
happy to be back home in Texas. I hate that. I hate cold and I hate that white crap.
How do you,
well, the way you handle the white crap is you find a big empty parking lot and you spend an hour doing donuts and figuring out how
Yeah,
the car
right.
works. And then you're good.
getting that e-brake?
Some of you,
Of course,
Billy.
it's kind of hard to do that anymore because you don't have the e-brake on the console.
Yeah, that's true. But you could just let it drift. But you figure that out, and then the other key is lots of layers. So you just dress for it. If you're cold, you put another
Yeah.
layer on.
Well, yeah, but I'm way too old to shovel snow and I'm too tight to
Yeah.
pay somebody to do it.
That's why the gods made snowblowers, dude. I hear you.
Yeah, I don't
Everything's
miss
good.
my time in Grand Forks, North Dakota at all.
Mm-mm.
Uh-uh.
I visited Sweden during.
That
the,
was Minot? You were at
Zero
Minot?
whiteout conditions. No, Grand Forks.
Grand Forks, okay.
I visited.
North
Sweden
Dakota's
during
cold.
the
I lived for 2 years in Minnesota a bunch of years ago, and one of those winters, one of those nights, it was like minus 45, and there was a 22-mile-an-hour wind, so the wind chill was like minus 85. It's the coldest I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, we would go out on Devil's Lake and have sports car racing back then. So you know, I had a Camaro, and you know, so I'd be going up against the other folks, you know, their vets and their Mustangs, and you know, all on how you drive, you know, on that ice to be able to win or not win.
Yeah,
Fun
right.
times, you know. And of course, you know, back then, you know, everybody's just tipping them back, and it's a wonder nobody killed themselves.
The section I live in here in Northwest Detroit is what they call the Lakes area. Northwest Detroit area is what they call the Lakes area. And none of the roads are straight because there's all these little
Yeah.
post-glacial lakes all over the place. So, but the lakes all freeze over in the winter, and they have these
Right.
massive ATV races
Uh-huh.
every night. It's like, you know, till 2 a.m. these guys are hauling around on the lakes. So
Yeah.
We have
Mhm.
stock
Yeah, you
car
gotta
races
entertain
on the lake.
yourself, you know.
Reminded me of a story about lake ice. Had a brand new Blazer. My wife and I drove it. I was stationed in North Carolina, bought a brand new Blazer. We drove it up to Alaska. I was stationed at Elmendorf and Anchorage. And first winter up there, we go out to what they call the homesteads. My wife had two uncles living out there. One of them is crazy. I mean, crazy as a loon. And seriously. And so we're driving along, and there's right off the edge of the road, there's about 8 foot of grass, no bar ditches like we have here in Texas, just road to grass to lake. And it was frozen. And he said, drive out there. And I said, not in my brand new truck. No way. And he said, no, they have races up here every winter. I said, I don't care what they have. I'm not taking this brand new truck out there on the ice. So we're trucking down the highway about 55. He reaches over and grabs the steering wheel, pulls it, and out on the ice. I'm doing donuts at 55 across the lake. I stopped, white knuckling the steering wheel, stop. I look out the window, and I'm looking through 4 feet of ice. I nursed that truck off the ice and called him everything but a nice guy.
Yeah. Well deserved. Well deserved.
Scared me to death.
We have stock car races on the lake not too far from me here. They stud the tires.
See, they're still keeping it up.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
In San Moritz, Switzerland, they have polo on the ice on the lake there.
I played it when I was in Minnesota. I played in an intramural broomball league, which is played on an ice rink outside at night. And you're in tennis shoes with a broom, and you're swatting a little rubber ball around, kind of
We
like
did that.
hockey.
Yeah,
We did that when I was in Wordsmith. They had that, and that ice. They would purposely ice over a basketball court or a double or triple basketball court. That's where, and I kissed one of those posts a couple of times.
I had some friends in Ohio when I was up there that they played, I guess it was intramural broom ball. It was funny to watch.
It's entertaining. And I one week our games it was one of those deep cold nights, and I was had 6 layers on, and a week later we were playing in a half an inch of water. So it was entertaining. Yeah, here my dad worked in the steel business, and he would bring home, in mid-December, he'd bring home a scrap coil, and we'd unroll that sucker out in the backyard and make a rink and spray it down and have a rink out in the backyard. So play hockey all winter.
And when I was in Michigan, I was stationed in a bomb dump that had several areas, and they they normally put the reinforced buildings with levee sort of between them, and there's road, levee. And the guy I was up there with, Dave, said, "Have you been tobogganing?" I said, "No, I've never heard of it." And he says, "Oh, let me show you." And he put a rope on the back of the 6-pack truck we had, and he started dragging me around the place, and it was pretty fun in the beginning. Then he got up to around 20, 25 miles an hour and turning corners. It wasn't a lot of fun. And didn't want to let go of the rope because, didn't know how it happened. He hit the brakes and I slid right underneath that Dodge, came out of the other end. The lieutenant at Randy Every is left pointing at us, just waving. Never heard him. We never heard anything about it, but
We call those redneck sleigh rides.
redneck sleigh
Yeah.
rides.
Yeah.
Give me
Yeah.
a-
Behind a
it
truck
was-
or behind a truck or an ATV on a tire with a rope. Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
No.
It was fun. It was fun. It was a nerve tester, but
Yeah.
but those guys that drive out over that lake,
For hunting?
at beginning in November, they just drive across they live on the other side of the lake. They have a path across the lake where they could drive across. And I was not trusting enough to walk on it.
No, they get villages like on the ice. A guy will say, "Yeah, I'm going down to the village," which means he's driving his truck out to where all the ice fishing huts are out in the middle of the lake.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them ice huts that folks have up there are pretty extravagant.
Yeah, heater, TV,
Heaters and- yeah,
and bunk beds and stuff. Ice fishing huts. They
yeah,
haul them out there in the winter and hope to get them in before the thaw dumps them in the
Yep.
lake.
yeah, it's crazy.
I never seen or heard of them until I got up there and got stationed up there and I saw all these things sitting along the beach, and I thought they were like changing sheds or whatever. I'm from where we go fishing year round, and there is no ice unless you buy it at the store.
You open up.
It's kind of entertaining because here in the Detroit area, there's a fairly good sized lake just to the between us and Canada, Lake Sinclair, and 3 of the Great Lakes flow into Lake Sinclair, which then flows south into Lake Erie. And so it gets a lot of fish and stuff, and it'll freeze over. It's not a great lake, but it's fairly big. But every year the Coast Guard's got to rescue dudes off of ice flows when it breaks up because people just don't come off of the lake soon enough. And the water moves pretty good through there. So
We got a lake here called Lake Winnebago, and they actually build ice bridges over the cracks. And drive out
I've
into the
seen
lake.
that. I have been to Lake Winnebago and I have seen that, Scott.
It's crazy. I've fished out there. You cross one crack in the morning, and in the afternoon, that crack is gone, and there's another one a mile away that you got to make the bridge.
Yeah. One year when Lake Michigan froze over, me and some buddies on snowmobiles drove out to find the pressure ridge in the middle. That was interesting.
Oh yeah, I bet.
It freezes, from the edges toward the middle, but the ice is expanding. So when it gets there, it all just sort of pushes up in this big, like 40-foot tall ridge of broken ice. It's kind of interesting.
Matt, does the Coast Guard let them, when they rescue them, bring their fishing equipment with them?
No,
No.
no,
And they
lose
charge
it.
them.
Yeah,
Hey,
there's a fee.
I live 70 miles from Duluth, which is on Lake Superior.
Oh, it's cold up there, brother.
Yeah, we're at the warmest it got today was 9 below. But in the spring when they're out there fishing, they used to bring them back for nothing and bring all their equipment. It's
Wow.
amazing how many people got smart when the Coast Guard started charging them to bring their equipment back. They
Right.
have to rescue you, but they don't have to rescue your equipment.
Yeah, well, what
Oh,
they
yeah.
do in Lake Sinclair is they declare it too dangerous. And once they do, then they don't bring your equipment back. And if they have to come and get you, they're charging you for the trip.
Yeah, it's like us down here in the summertime with the monsoons and the little valleys in the road where a wash may be coming through. And it floods really bad, especially, and primarily it's in the afternoons with the monsoons when we get the severe flash flooding from the immense amount of rain that's dropped in a short amount of time. And they'll have signs up, pre-designated already, do not enter when water is present. And they have an idiot fee down here that they charge, and they call it an idiot fee. and they charge $350, to pull, get the vehicle out and rescue to come out there.
But they should charge for stupidity.
Well, exactly,
I don't
else you
have that
gonna
kind of
learn?
money. Come on, cut me some slack.
Yeah.
Anybody that's ever tried to walk through even a shallow, fast moving stream knows that's not a good place to take an automobile.
But if they
Right?
charge for stupidity, somebody's going to have to pay more than other people.
Yes,
Well, yeah, I know, right?
that's how you learn.
It wouldn't be fair.
Expensive learning curve.
Yeah, when they put a car through the ice here in Wisconsin, it's $500 a day for every day that it's underwater.
Oh, good. Yeah, for the pollution. Yeah.
And you got to
Well,
get
and
it
the-
out.
And the hazard it poses to boaters and stuff.
Yeah,
Yep.
because usually they're at the boat landings is where they usually go through. They
Oh,
can't read
really?
signs.
Yeah, because it'll cliff out but the boat landing, it's sloped, so you can get boats in and out, Usually there's a bluff around a lake.
Yep.
And so the boat landing is the right way to go in and out. You're right. Yeah, Scott's right. Yep.
There's guys that actually plow roads on the lake. They'll come off the boat landing and plow roads when the snow gets too deep.
Yep. They do that for the little racing tracks on the lakes around here.
They do it here too.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, y'all can have that cold stuff. I don't want any part of it.
You don't
Yeah,
miss
Oh,
it.
come on. but
No,
it's
I
fun.
don't miss it from Ohio. I don't miss it from the ranch in South Dakota when I was a kid. And I really, the thing I do kind of miss though, the fishing and hunting of Alaska. That was fun. That was nice. But no, I don't miss the cold and the snow. Not a bit.
I put a coat on talking about it.
Yeah. I hear you, Jim. I hear
Yeah.
Right on, Jim.
you.
I wouldn't go back to
Yeah,
Ohio if they
remember
gave
that
me the
one.
whole state.
Oh,
Yep.
I got so damn tired of using a snowmobile. First 2 years were great.
Snowmobile's a lot of work.
Oh,
And smelling the fumes and getting the snow in your face.
oh yeah. You come off of that at 60 miles an hour.
Frostbite face.
You went through a cornfield head over heels and a couple times.
Yeah, people get killed doing that every year too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have
Yeah,
this
they
whole,
do it. They even do it out here with the open mine shaft,
Ooh.
riding through the desert.
well, they have this whole like tour you do across northern Wisconsin and upper Michigan and so on, where you like drive from bar to bar on your snowmobile at night, which is a recipe for all kinds of problems. So, but people just go up for the week and do that. And it's like, okay.
And I thought people that did motorcycle runs for poker runs on motorcycles were stupid.
Yeah.
Then this coming from a biker,
Hey.
this coming from a biker now. I mean,
Yeah, I only did it a couple of times. Don't talk about me, but I quit drinking about 12, 14, 15 years ago, something like that, just because I didn't have any problems. I was just working with a bunch of young people who were idiots once they got 1 or 2 drinks. I don't want to drink around them. I mean, they really got stupid. And they start, we're in a high class restaurant for a function or a party, and they'd get blown away immediately, because the drinks were free.
Yeah.
And strong.
Yeah. I don't,
Oh, yeah.
don't think I needed it.
I like a nice cold beer as much as the next guy, but I mean, gracious sakes, not when you're only on 2 wheels. It don't make any sense.
Billy, I got somebody that's
wheels or
dumber
4
than you.
wheels.
No, it's 4 wheels either. What's that, Scott?
I got some people here in central Wisconsin that are got to be the dumbest in the world. They race snowmobiles on water in the summertime.
I've seen videos of that.
Yeah,
they tie a cushion
Darwin
to 'em.
Award winners.
Sometimes they don't make it.
No, they run out of gas or something happens and they sink, and they had to actually tie a buoy to them so that they can come out and pull them up. They'll drain the water out of them and start all over again. crazy.
Hey guys,
You're right.
hey guys, can I show off my buddy here? Wolf.
Did I just
Oh.
accidentally unmute somebody?
Nice looking dog.
Thank you. This is why I got 4 of these guys. Yeah, Ice Wolf. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
Well,
huskies.
they love the snow.
Is that a husky or a malamute?
This is they're all Alaskan Malamutes. He's 175 pounds.
Whoa.
Wow.
Holy mackerel, that's
Yeah,
a
he's a
big,
bruiser.
that's a big
He's the
dude.
smallest. He's the smallest of the 4.
Man, that boy can eat. I bet that boy can eat, huh?
Yeah, they're really pretty frugal with how they eat. They're very, very efficient. It's fascinating.
Good looking dog.
Yeah,
Good looking dog.
he was the runt of the litter too. So
Yeah.
yeah,
the
Shadow
runt's always the
weighs
best.
his older brother. His brother who we have weighs 185, and Mom weighs 192.
Yeah.
That's a lot of dog.
Do they shed
Yeah.
much, Matt?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, them and
Well, we
We
huskies
vacuum all
both.
the time, don't we, big dog? Yeah.
Don't stop petting me.
No,
Right.
he's a lap dog. He likes snuggling and likes pets, and he's been
Likes
up here a
his
couple
ears
times
rubbed?
today. What's that?
Like his ears rubbed?
Yeah, he likes his ears rubbed. If he's really feeling hedonistic, he'll roll over and demand belly rubs.
Doug Moore raises Pomskis. Those are
Yes.
crosses between huskies and Pomeranians, and they are the cutest things.
They're beautiful.
They're the gorgeous dogs. And I want one so bad I can't stand it, but they shed like crazy, and there's just no way. My wife would kill me.
Well, it
They
becomes
probably
a
wouldn't
part
be
of
very happy in Texas. But
it
humidity.
becomes
Yeah,
a part.
no,
It
probably
becomes a
not.
part of your life. It's you vacuum twice a week. You got to have change the furnace filters every 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But as soon as it gets below like 65 degrees, they're outside all the time, which, they also carry the dirt in, but
Yep.
it's, you just learn to live with it. It's like anything else.
Right.
You've taught them
Yeah,
how to
exactly.
roll in yellow snow, right?
Yeah.
How
They're
often,
like,
Matt?
Yeah.
How often, Matt?
you got a
gotta
tip
look
there,
for him in the snow.
well, I mean, if you guys look at my Facebook pictures, like I've got, I've got pictures of them being snowed in, where they're sitting
Yeah.
outside with like a half an inch of snow on them or an inch of snow on them. They've got 2 coats. So this outer coat is the white you see is a very dense inner coat that insulates, and the outer coat, the snow that falls on it doesn't freeze. So I mean, they've slept outside in the snow quite a bit. So
My
they'll
cousin
sleep
used to
outside
raise
until
sled
it's,
dogs.
yeah,
Yeah.
they'll sleep outside in the snow for, until it's 5 or 10 below zero and be completely comfortable. But they can come in anytime they want. We've got doggy doors and they just come in whenever they want to. So
Yeah.
My cousin
Yeah,
used
that's
to raise sled dogs. Matt, my
Yeah.
cousin used to raise sled dogs, and he had dog houses for them, and they never slept in the doghouse.
yeah, I believe it.
You go out
Yeah,
in
they
the
used to
morning
be able
and
to stand up and sit
stand
on
up,
top
and
of
they shake the
doghouse.
snow off, and away they go.
Yeah. Yeah, they're like it. The thing that's funny is they'll come in the house. Like I expect Friday to have video of them coming in the house covered in snow, and they'll come in and shake inside, which is like,
Yeah.
dude.
Right.
But it is what it is.
Yep.
Thank you for visiting.
Yeah,
around
definitely.
there.
Yeah, no worries. No worries.
I don't know who that is, but we'll see.
Hey,
Nice
it's
hat. Nice hat.
Hiya.
Oh, so that tip wouldn't work for you, huh, Billy?
Oh no. No,
No?
I could tell her, oh, it's just my beard. She wouldn't believe me. She'd know better.
Yeah. Well, we're just trying to look out for you. It sounds
Yeah,
like. So,
I appreciate it.
yeah, you probably appreciate a little bit less advice on that, huh?
I might be the only guy in the world that killed the Dyson vacuum cleaner for dog hair. It's in fact, we lost our Labrador. I think in August she went away, and moving furniture around in the shop the other day. I've got a ball of hair over there about 5 inches around that I found under 2 tables. And look at the way y'all talking about this. I'm looking at it and thinking, why don't I just pick it up and throw it in the trash? But what we have left now is a skipper tea. Only supposed to weigh about 10, 12 pounds. She goes 20. She was competing with those labs on eating. And tonight, we took her overcoat off tonight to give her a little break. And she got in the bedroom, got rubbing under the bed, and I just patched up 2 holes in her just a little while ago. She's got a skin infection again. But
oh dear.
She's a watchdog. Nobody's safe on my block.
Nope.
She's never been anybody.
Yeah,
She just barks at them and goes up doing it. Yeah. It's like Monday I had.
It's like you learn their language. I mean, you know, my guys, I know if they're howling at the sirens or they're barking at each other is a lot different than if something is alarming them. You know, it's a different bark.
Oh yeah.
Sharp, real sharp sound to it.
Well, Shadow's got like this deep bark, and it's like, okay, Shadow's detected a threat. Let's go find out what it is. You know, it's like, it's scary.
Everyone we've had lights up when a UPS truck goes by. All they gotta do is drive down the road, and it's not a FedEx truck or it was an Amazon or anybody else. It's just the UPS trucks.
Huh.
A little while ago, when I was getting this together, the rat dog jumped up and started barking at the door. And then a minute later, I heard the doorbell ring. It was the UPS guy dropping off 2 boxes. She heard it long before that doorbell rang.
Probably
And
making a high-pitched noise. Something's wrong with the truck.
Well,
they can hear it, man.
Yeah, they can.
Yeah. When she was little, she'd jump on the couch in this room. And when they have the broken blinds back over there, that was her. The couch used to run along that wall, and she'd jump up on the couch, run along the back. And when she got the window, she wanted to look out. She'd pull the blind down to look out. And she'd pull down one hand and look out the other hand. You know, look out to see, you know, what was going on out there. And I realized one day the blind didn't look right. And my wife said, "You gonna replace it?" And I said, "No, not to replace the dog." I've had all right. We're talking a little while ago, and it's time to chat again about wood turning, folks. Tonight we're going to do a little gallery dealing with ornaments. And I see a couple of folks popped in and said we have something to show tonight, and that's fine. We'll get to you in just a few moments. And that's going to be the ornament show. I'm getting away from calling them challenges. I don't want to chase anybody away. It's not a challenge. It's an opportunity to show your work. And remember the no but guarantee. We can't say, and it's not permitted here. We can't say, I like that but. The but can't be used. We're not going to criticize or critique anybody's work whatsoever at any time, because so far I hadn't met the guy that can do that. And I've met some of what they call the best. So I don't think I've met them that can judge my work and tell me right or wrong about it. So we won't do it to you. And we're talking about other things to do, other projects or galleries to do. Beads of Courage came up last week. We think we can do that, and we can target one location to give them to the needy children or deserving children. I want to say needy, deserving children. And it's the Beads of Courage. We're going to get more worked up, and then we'll have a little blog on our website, thanks to Dave Rhodes, that'll explain the rules or the guidelines they have and about the coins and decoration pieces. We'll do that for Beads of Courage. I'm still working on that one. And gnomes. Somebody called me the other day, and I was telling Billy this earlier. They made a whole bunch of gnomes, took them to their Christmas fair sales, and didn't sell a one. And I said, they will look for something happy. If you do it with the red and green beard, it might be all right. You know, or Santa hat or something, but you know, let's play around the gnomes. This project is like the birdhouse project and the ornament project. You can pretty much do anything you want to do. You can decorate it any way you want to decorate it. You make it any size you want to make it, from little bitty things, and I know we'll see some of those in Bob Moffat, to giants from Joaquin. But we'll all have fun with it and seeing what we make, how we turn, how we decorate it. My wife says she's got a box of actual real animal skin somebody gave her for sewing. Don't know why. And I can use some of that material, which is real. And that'd be fun to play around with. And the one I'm really excited about, maybe not really excited, I'm just excited about it. All right. For Valentine's Day, stand by, because we're going to see this one. Show me your crotch.
So we get to say it now.
Show me
Because
your
it's all
crotch.
inclusive. Everyone's got one.
Yeah. And now I know he's not here yet because I can check the roster, but nobody tell Doug Rowe, okay? It's a secret we got to keep from Doug Rowe. Otherwise, we're going to lose our PG rating here.
Unless he goes and reviews the meeting on video.
Yeah, right. Because we
Yeah.
got to keep an eye
Yeah.
on Doug and not necessarily keep an eye on him for that.
He's got those reconnaissance
He has
teams
those
working for him.
tendencies. He's got those tendencies.
Yeah. A lot of folks don't believe me about the bikini until I tell them which show to go watch, and I don't hear
right.
back from them. I don't hear back from them very often. All right, that's what we're going to do for galleries this year. Now, somebody a couple of weeks ago was showing us the turning a spindle, or a piece of stock round, and they were using a drive center. Not a barbed drive center, a bald tailstock center, I'd call it, but they had that in the drive head, and they had a revolving center and a tailstock, and would turn those 2 points. This guy emailed me the other day, it's Daryl, it's either Daryl or Donald, about how can you possibly hold a piece between those two centers? And I said, it's called friction.
What?
That's it. You can hold it there, and it's
Absolutely.
if you're doing production work, it might be one of those quick things where you don't have to put them in a chuck or fool around with that. You stab 2 points and go. It might be a way to rough the wood out. I did it one time roughing out a hat blank, and just because somebody told me I couldn't do it. And but if you're doing it, if you're shaping something up and you need stock that's fairly straight, if you clean it down with that and you can see the grain of the stock, you can adjust your center point to get that back spinning horizontal or even. And that might be a sneaky way. Anybody got any ideas on that?
Yeah, they call that a up style center for the headstock. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, it's not a
Yeah,
step center though. There's no teeth.
No, cup, C-U-P.
Cup. I'm sorry. Pardon me.
Yeah. And other people have other names for it. I was looking at that myself this week, and somebody has a different name for it. But there's, Robust sells a cup style drive center. And that's what they call it.
I refer to it as a safety center.
Okay.
Yeah, it could be.
But yeah, you're right. It's basically just a pressure and friction fit.
Right.
It used to be what they used back in the old days before they had a bearing tailstock center. I bought them from Sears. In fact, I bought all they had. They were like $4.98. I bought 20 of them, I think.
Well, they're still on sale.
Are they?
They're half price now.
I bought every one Sears had.
I've got a 60-degree drive center that I use when I'm turning pins, because I turn between centers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I use. It's 60s when I do.
Yeah,
pins.
one way sells one also. They also call it a cup drive. Axminster sells one. They call it a ring point tip. The Brits, they got to be different. So, Yep, lots of different names for it.
Oh, that's right, Robert. He does. Robert says Alan Lacer mentions how he takes those cup centers and files a couple of spots across them so that it gives it a little bite.
But doesn't that like defeat the purpose? I
No,
guess not.
it still works as a safety center.
Okay,
It just doesn't slip quite as much.
makes sense.
Billy, when you turn pens, you run the tubes between centers?
Yes, sir.
Yep,
I put
I do too.
I used well for 7 millimeters, like slim lines. I have a special made bushings that I can put between my 60-degree centers. But for all my others, I just use the regular standard stock bushing, and I just put them between 60-degree centers and they work just fine. I have gone so far as to chuck some of my bushings up and use a machinist center drill that's 60 degrees to cut a small 60-degree chamfer on the outside of the bushing so that it matches up with the 60-degree drive and live centers. But I haven't done that on all of them. I found it really wasn't necessary.
Yeah, so Eddie, I turn, when I do pens, I turn nothing but between centers, between the 60-degree dead center and live center, to include trimming and facing the blanks. I use the skew, and I'll, instead of using a ream cutter, to get everything down through the brass, I use my skew and cut off the ends, and then I, giddy up and cut the blank, solely with the skew.
That'll work, Dave.
And when I start getting close, I take my measurements off of the specific pen hardware, because there's variances, and you can have 5 kits and they're all going to be off by some degree. And so for that specific hardware, I transfer, whatever that caliper dimension comes out to be. That's what I work to on the final turning off the lathe.
You guys are talking 60-degree centers. Are those cones?
No, they're pointed, 60-degree pointed
They're
centers.
pointed.
Standard 60-degree live center and a 60-degree drive center.
Yep. So here's my dead center.
Yeah.
60-degree.
Oh, okay.
And then
So it is a cone. It is a cone on the end, though.
It
Okay.
is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's
You
cone
can,
pointed.
and I got mine from Little Machine Shop, but you can get them all kinds of places.
And the same thing with the live center that I've got on my tailstock right now. It's
Thanks for showing me that, guys. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. And so it's the same way.
Yeah, it's a 60
So how do you marry that up to the pen fixtures then?
Well, Dane said he doesn't. He just
I
turns
use my
to
calipers.
specs. But
Yes.
I put the bushings in the tube just like I normally would. And then I chuck at bushings and all in between those centers.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right, I got it.
And the reason that I started doing that is because this was before the days of the mandrel saver. And I kept getting, because you have a tendency, mandrels have a tendency to warp or flex. And
True.
And because most people think, oh, I need to tighten it some more, and they're tightening on the wrong spot. So what they end up doing is putting warp in that mandrel. I mean, in it, because it warps really easily, instead of cranking down on the knurled knob like you're supposed to. But that's what the mandrel saver has come in and taken the place of all of that. So you don't quite get as much flex. But I still find that I get a degree of eccentricity. I know I'm a pretty eccentric guy, but I get a degree of eccentricity using a mandrel that I don't get when I'm turning between centers, because I get a concentric pen blank every time.
Absolutely. And then so like, you'll hear folks say, oh, you can't do it between centers without the bushings.
Yeah, you can.
Because you can't hold the pin, with the bushing in the blank, you can't hold it tight enough. Well, if you're using good technique with your tool, whether it's a skew, roughing gouge, spindle gouge, or even a bowl gouge, you literally, the amount of pressure that you need to tighten it down with, you're still able to turn that live center. If you've got it tighter than that, then you're going to mushroom out the brass.
Right.
But it's just like an oil filter on a vehicle when you're changing your oil filter. You don't crank it down with a lot of power. It says hand tight, and then go a little bit more. That's it. And it's the same with a pin between centers. For those that like myself, that choose not to use bushings or modify the existing bushings that you have, of course, there's a couple places out there that provide quality, good bushings for turning between centers that you put between your dead center and your live center that go into the blank, like those that are used on the mandrel. But again, that's another piece of equipment that's going in that's going to cause some amount of century of the pin blank being out around and marrying up perfectly with your pen hardware.
Yeah, and I have overcranked that knurled knob. I mean, to the point where I did damage to the bushings too. So
yeah,
they weren't the same size they should have been when I was done. So
right.
Things you learn.
Yeah, and then of course your bushings are through the for those that have to do a little bit of sanding, it's inevitable that you're gonna hit the sandpaper on those bushings, and of course that's going to reduce the outside diameter of the bushings, and so
especially if you start with a coarse grit.
Yeah, especially for those that start at the 60 and 80, that have the 60 and 80 grit gouge. So
I seldom start. Yeah. And it takes me just a little bit longer because I'm doing two blanks and I'm not doing two blanks at a time, on the same mandrel. I'm using one and then the other, but it's not that much longer. And
no.
And good, to be honest, I seldom start sanding a pen blank with anything coarser than 180.
Yeah.
Well, probably because you're slicing the wood.
Yep.
I try.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to try and brag or anything, but it's probably 320 that I'm hitting that.
Well, usually it's 240 because I'm turning with my skew.
Right. Well, exactly. That's what I mean. That's what I was getting ready to follow it up. Because that last cut, the dreaded last cut,
right?
Freshly, and not honing it, I'll go put it on the 600 CBN, and then I'll go and take that fine shaving down that final dimension. And of course, when I first started years ago, that last cut really, really stunk.
Yeah.
Applies to all of us.
Famous last words.
Yes.
Especially on a bow turning.
But that last cut, it's a mindset, because you're thinking, oh, just one last cut, and then you're thinking about failure. What we have to do is start thinking, oh, this last cut is going to make a fabulous surface that I don't have to sand.
Exactly.
And it all starts with taking your time and making sure that you have a nice, fresh, sharp edge.
Yep.
Well, and one other thing, guys, if you practice that last cut all the way through the turning process, that last cut becomes a whole lot easier.
Bing, bing, bing. There's the winner right there.
Yep.
That's right.
Hey, I saw a great video. You talking about CBN wheels? I saw a great video on YouTube. The name of the company, I think it was Wonderworks, Wonder Wheels. It shows you how to clean.
Yeah,
Wood Turners Wonders. Shows you how to clean that wheel. People think their wheels are worn out. They're not worn out. They need to be cleaned. And it's got a detailed video on how to clean them. And I had never
Did you pick
seen that
up from
video.
my comment? Did you pick that up from my comment that I made about that?
Which comment?
About that guy that was asking about that, and I told him Ken Rizzo's got a video.
Yeah,
on it.
yeah, I did. Yeah, sure did. I was wondering what made me look for that video,
Right
but
on.
yeah,
Yep.
because I went back and cleaned mine because I used the slick stick, but I have a tendency to for it to build up a little bit. And so I went back and started doing the cleaning process that he recommended, and it works really well.
Yeah, it does. And it's pretty amazing because, he uses a slick stick and then he shoves a tube of copper pipe on there and just takes off like 2 inches and cleans that soft metal out of the CBN wheel, and it got fine after he's done cleaning it.
I started cleaning it and I ran my hand across it, one little section, and I went, oh my, because I could feel the wheel again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So man, it was like, this is great.
Yeah, I
Y'all put a
hadn't
link
tried
to
to
that
clean-
video in the chat.
Do what?
Would y'all somebody put a link to that video in the chat?
There it is.
There it is.
He's already,
Well,
he's already
that's
on
good
it.
service.
Thanks, Ron.
Wow.
Oh, that's Ron. Ron's on the ball, boy. So
Good job, Ron.
Well, that's why we paid him so much money.
hey, don't talk about a raise with him. Wrong time of the year.
Well, it was a good bonus he got. So,
Hey, can I ask a question on a totally different topic?
no,
I guess not.
Yeah, go ahead.
I made some of these whiskey barrel cups for drinking whiskey. It was suggested that I try marine epoxy on the bottom, and not having any, I was looking for something that I might have that I could try. I started putting Mahoney's walnut oil on it, put 3-4 layers on one day, let it dry for a couple days, and then tried putting another one on and let it dry for a couple of days. Because of the capillary, I think that's the right word.
Capillary.
Yeah, the walnut oil goes into the oak. And I was just wondering if anybody else has ever tried that and had it help to keep the whiskey from coming out the bottom. I'm not getting anything out the sides. I'm getting a little bit out the bottom.
Did you must have used red oak on that.
Nope.
What'd you
Not red
use?
oak. I paid attention to what you said, Dean, and I used white oak.
And you still got stuff running out the bottom?
Not
Drinking it fast.
running. I get
It
in
weeps a
5
little.
minutes, I get
Keeps a little, okay.
in
Got a little
5
bit of
minutes, I
alcohol
get a
abuse
little
there.
space underneath the barrel that's
right.
Okay.
You're not drinking it fast enough.
Yeah, I know. I've heard that and love that answer, but
Yeah.
That's
I
the
don't know
devil's
if-
portion.
I've not used walnut oil, so I can't answer that question.
I've used walnut
Right.
oil quite a
Neither.
bit, but I don't know that it's going to solve that problem. It
I don't think it
will
cares
harden,
hard
but
enough.
I would think the alcohol would cut it.
Probably.
yeah. See, I didn't know that. I don't drink at all, so I didn't know anything about whiskey or what it can do or can't do. And
So Gary, have you tried taking a torch and charring the bottom?
now inside I've done that. Now I haven't charred the bottom on the outside. I've done it on.
I don't mean on the outside. I mean on the inside, but getting a really good char on it and then scraping it off.
Dean, weren't you the one that showed to have the yellow flame coming out of the cup? One of y'all that had that anyhow, and I've got a real good char on the inside. I mean, it's black, and it's not
Did
like
the
it
wood-
comes running out of the cup. It's
Right. So you're going to need to have the wood a little little thicker than, your final dimension, because I mean, you're going to char it and you're going to have, so what I do when I do them, is I will char the inside and I will char it to where I've literally got to remove an eighth of an inch or 3/16 of an inch of material, but it'll leave a spot on smooth sealed black surface on the wood once you take off, the top part that's already been burned.
Yeah, I
That might
squirted
be-
water in it and wiped it out real good with a towel, twisting the towel
Yeah.
inside. And that made it a lot smoother, I guess you'd say. But and
Yeah,
this,
so I'm thinking maybe wasn't charred quite enough.
okay, I can
To
try
actually
that.
rate, I mean, you're going to feel the ridges in the wood. You're going to feel where it's burned, and then you go back in and clean that out.
How are you removing the char, Dane? Is that with the brass brush?
No, literally, I'll go in there with my round nose scraper.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep.
Would you then char it more than once to make sure that you've got everything good and charred up?
Yeah. It's a repeated process because you can't keep the torch on it because it's you're gonna burn it up.
Gotcha. Okay.
I didn't do
I
it
see.
more than once. I only charred the inside once. Okay.
Yeah, it sounds like you just made it black.
Yeah.
The topical layer, right? Yeah, you've got to
Yeah,
get
that may help it to
gotta
give
get a
it
little bit of
a
burn
little
in there.
longer char.
Right.
I'm sorry, you guys were talking over each other there. Say that again.
Go ahead, Dean.
I said that may help it to give it a little longer char. I mean, some woods, even from tree to tree and on the same tree, will wick a little bit more than others.
Okay.
And I've done them with charring and without, but that should help.
Well, we'll give it a shot and see what happens. Thank you.
That's what they do with the whiskey barrels, in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they put a major char in there. Then they go in and scrape it out. And they
I didn't know they did
essentially
that.
they're using huge cart, essentially a huge card scraper.
That'd be a cool job to have, right? Setting stuff on fire and getting paid for it.
Making barrels.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Being a Cooper. Yeah.
And
not
they pay
many
you,
of them left.
And you get tipped in whiskey,
Lord.
Tips earlier today, you do a better job.
One thing about it,
Evidently-
you wouldn't be stressed when you got home.
Evidently, that's Matt's wishful thinking.
Well, all right. So let me draw you a slight sort of analogy here. Okay. Michigan has recently, in the last few years, legalized cannabis. Okay.
Huh?
And one of the perks apparently of working at a cannabis grow facility is that the employees get to take home some product.
The stuff
And
from
that's
their
considered
gloves.
that's considered a perk. So but I was drawing an analogy to the distillery businesses.
Mm-hmm.
I must
They
be-
get to keep the tip the fingers of their gloves because of all that sticky stuff, from picking and trimming.
Yeah.
It adheres to the nitro gloves that they use, and so they get
Yes.
to keep their fingers.
They had a name for that. What do they call it? Glove hash?
Yeah, I should know.
Well, and you peel it off of the trimmers
I've got a
too,
friend.
apparently.
Well, no, I've got a friend, that's in that industry, and we talk about it all. He's bringing me up to speed on it, and yeah, it's
Sure.
quite the market. It is quite the market.
A friend, Dane? Okay.
But the guy,
That's what I'm thinking too.
Yep.
Yeah, that's another
Guys,
guy.
I'm really naive about this stuff.
No, I can 100% tell you, I do not do that, and I don't believe in all the remedies that they claim that it does.
Sure you don't.
Well, I will tell you
Legally,
that I
legally,
do have
thing.
I do know some people in the business also. And there's an awful lot of folks working in those places that are regular users, but nobody running one of those places is. And you can
Yeah.
take from that what you want. So.
Right,
Exactly.
exactly.
Yep.
Yep, that's right.
Okay, hey, Dane, can we do a few galleries before we crank up our demonstration tonight?
Absolutely. We got a
Who do we
few
have?
on board tonight, which is great. So let's go back to Texas to Billy. Hey, Billy.
Oh, looky
The
there.
head on that guy.
Wow. Yeah. Tell me. I didn't do ornaments this week. I'm sorry, but I did.
But what you did was beautiful, Billy.
I do. Thank you. I do have a couple of things. A friend of mine that works in a wood shop recently gave me some more offcuts. And so I thought I had this chunk of, it was 3 pieces of 3/4 inch alder glued up into a 2-inch square, probably 10, 11 inches long. And I cut it in half and said, I want to do an off center turning or a multi-axis turning. So I turned this little twig pot, and you can see it's 3-sided,
There you go.
top and bottom. And I didn't really hollow it out because I don't have any small hollowing tools. So I just drilled it out with a Forstner bit that was about the diameter I wanted, and finished it with Howard feed and wax, because I think this alder just really didn't need to shine. It's got enough protection on it from the feed and wax, but I'm kind of happy with it. Just a little 4-axis turning. So the day after that, I thought, I want to do something with that other piece of alder that I cut off. These are pretty much proof of concept pieces because this alder is so soft. And so I thought, let me turn a goblet, but let's do it a little bit different. Let's put a twist in it. So as you can see from the angle of this right here, it does have a twist.
Oh, wow.
So I used it again, 4 axes, but this time, instead of going from point 1 to point 1 and then 2 to 2 and 3 to 3, you go 1 to 2 and 2 to 3 and 3 to 1. And that gives you a little bit of twist. And I've done boxes like this in the past, but I've not done anything quite this small. And like I said, this was pretty much just a proof of concept. And this alder was it's really pretty soft wood, and it turned very quickly. But I can't get much light down in there, but that's the inside. This I did hollow out. I didn't drill it.
So Dane, you're going to get him to do a demo on this, right?
So
yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah, thanks for reminding me on that. Yeah.
Well, he just did a
already
video
tried
on it. It's on his YouTube channel. I saw it. I was watching
that's
it
right.
live.
This except for parting it off and finishing the bottom, I did the whole thing in an hour and a half live. So, but this alder is soft enough that it turned pretty quick. The next thing I'm doing is probably going to be about the same size pieces, but from Sipo, otherwise known as African mahogany to some. But it's just a little something. This one I finished with 4 coats of shellac, and then just hit it with some Axe polish and restoring paste just to give it a little bit of a gloss, but not too much.
So Billy, on the 4 axis,
yeah,
what were your dimensions off of center?
On this one,
and so that's what, 2 inches?
Yeah, these were 2 inches. So on this one, it was probably 1 3/4 is where I put my marks on each end.
1 3/4 from each axis, or from the center?
From the outside. I'm sorry. So that would have been maybe 3/4 of an inch off center.
For all 4 from the center point.
From the center to these from the center to these 3 looks to be maybe, I don't know, 5/8 of an inch.
Okay.
This one
looks like a good demo to me.
This one was
Oh,
different.
I've got him, Bob.
this one was different because of, a different dimension. So this one was the same, about a 5/8 of an inch thereabouts to the points from center. This one was closer to 3/8 of an inch from center. Maybe, no, it's more than a quarter. Yeah, about 3/8 maybe. And so this one was canted a little bit. But again, 1.1 to 0.1, 0.2 to 0.2, 0.3 to 0.3. And it looks, when you, and that's all between centers, by the way. And when you get those things spinning, when you first try a 4-axis turning, it can be a little daunting because you got this whirly-majig just doing dances around the lathe. And you're like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? But I did those at about 1200 RPM. So
Use the strobe light. Strobe light stops it.
oh yeah, well, I could have, but you just watch the shadow. But the one of the key points or key things is turn a tenon like fixture at each end about just bigger than the dimension that you want to go to, because that'll give you a place to put your points. But more importantly, I draw a line and then I turn down to that line. When I know I'm at that line, and when I hit that line and I know that I've gone far enough on that end, and then I'll go over here and turn down to the line over here. But I've got a video for this one. I videoed this one, but I don't have it up yet because the monitor in this laptop crashed on me, which is why I'm watching y'all on the TV up there. It looks like I'm looking up at you. And I just was cleaning up my hard drive. My son-in-law is building me a new laptop. So hopefully after the new year, I'll get this thing edited and put up.
Nice.
Good
job.
Thank you. So yeah, if the live demo is not going to be a problem.
Do you draw the piece to pick up your centers or guess at it?
I don't understand.
You draw the piece to pick up your, to come up with the centers?
Oh, yes, sir. I draw the end. I use a compass.
Yeah.
I find the center of the piece and then I use a compass and set whatever diameter that I want. And so I'll draw that circle.
Yeah.
And then I'll divide that into 120. And I show you in the video, I think I did, how I might not have been the live, but I do in the video. I show you how to get your 120 degree centers the easy way using that same compass and radius. You just keep the same radius that you use to draw your circle, draw a line through the middle, and just an arbitrary line as long as it goes through the middle, and pick a point on that circle that intersects with that line. That's for your first mark. And you stick the compass in that first mark and then draw another mark on each side where it intersects the line, move it, do it again, move it, do it again. That it ends up giving you 6 marks around the circle, but you only need 3 of them for 120 degrees.
Yeah.
So you skip one, that's your mark, skip one, and that's your mark. It's no math required. It's actually pretty easy.
So if you wanted to do 6 axes, you could do that with using the same process.
Yes, you actually, yes, you could. In fact, I think that's what I'm going to do next, just because I want to see what.
Awesome. Awesome.
I've not done 6. I've only done 3. But I've done boxes, the 3-sided boxes. I've done them with twists. They actually look pretty cool with a twist, especially if it's a bigger piece and you actually can see the twist a lot better.
I've done candle holders that way, tall ones. They got big long twists on them.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting on the 6. You could
Jim, you need to smile when you're sitting there.
What?
You need to smile when you're sitting there.
I'm
like
thinking.
a grumpy old man.
I'm thinking.
What were you saying, Jim?
If you did 6 axes, instead of skipping 1, you skip 2, and that would give you more twist. you could still
Yes.
have 6, but you.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Or
Yeah,
3, maybe even 3, because you did it with 1 to 3 before.
Right.
You can even skip 3.
Skip two would give you the same degree of slant, but 6 facets instead of 3.
Yeah.
Right.
That would be
Interesting.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't
But-
kidding about strobe lights. They really work, but you
Right.
gotta watch. Some people are deathly sick of strobe lights. Oh my
Yes.
Oh,
God.
yeah.
I mean, they walk in and just heave.
Yeah,
Or-
well, I mean, and it's not good for epileptics either.
Oh,
So if doing a 6 axes, or actually it end up being a 7 axes because you got the center point, but
so,
doing a 6, skipping one would give you more of a twist
Yeah.
between the 6 axes. That's a cool idea. I think I'll try that, Jim. Thanks.
yeah. But you could even skip 2 because the one you did, you
Right.
actually are skipping 2, right?
Yeah.
But you get 6 with the slope of a 3.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Now I can smile.
There you go.
Right.
You see, I got my candlestick. This got a twist in it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Let me go back to, hold on. Stick right there, Scott. Hold on.
Yeah, bring that
Yeah.
back. That, I didn't see it. That looked cool.
On a candlestick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get it closer to the camera. We want to see it.
See,
Looks
there's the
cool.
top. You can see the,
Yep.
Yep.
If I had made my little bud vase
and it's not
with
glued
a
in.
twist, it would
Yeah.
be almost that. Yeah.
My
Oh,
green
wow.
screen's kind of throwing the picture off, so.
That's
Ah,
cool.
looks good.
I like it. Looks
You
very
should see
nice,
that
Scott.
thing wobbling around on the lathe though. It's,
Yeah,
I
boy,
know.
right?
It looks
Yeah.
looks wicked. It'll scare you if you
yeah, you just got,
If you let it.
if you let it.
you let it. Yeah.
And make sure you sand it before you change the axis.
Oh, absolutely. And I go into that, and I mentioned that in the live, and I sanded before I moved, and I also bring it up in the other video that I'll be putting up. But yeah, you want to make sure that you sand these areas before you
Move on, yeah.
move on. Otherwise, you're going to be doing a lot of hand sanding.
And now I've turned them, and I've used I hate the term of it, but I use a roughing gouge because I don't want any tool flex. And I feel like I can get better control, and I can slice with a roughing gouge. And that's what it is. It's a pure slice. And
That's what I used on my candlesticks, is a roughing gouge.
You can slice with all the traditional tools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
Right
use,
on. Thanks,
in
Billy.
fact, I did these, as you'll see, except for when it came down to doing the stem and the beads and stuff. I did these with those I did with my skew, but most of my cutting I did with my 1.5 inch spindle gouge, believe it or not. But yeah, I kind of like it. Oh, one of the things that kind of scared me when I chucked this up, I put basically I just lost the word. That whatever that waste thing is that you put on a live center to stick in something so you don't
Jam chuck.
yeah, soft touch. That's what it is. Okay, so I took one of my soft touches and stuck in here when I put it back between centers. And as I was working on it, this alder is so soft, you can see the flex in this wood when you turn it. So I had to be careful.
Yeah, I bet. Right on. Good info, Billy.
Thanks.
I'll give you a call here in the coming days and we'll get you set up in January.
You got him, May.
Right on. I appreciate it. All right. Well, let's go to our next presenter, which is going to be our safety manager. Hey, Sue.
Hey there, how are you?
Hey, Sue.
Good.
What sister suggested, because I told her, well, it's ornament showing tonight. She said, well, put a little tiny eye hook in the end and put a ribbon on it. pretend there's a little eye hook on this. And there's a,
There you go.
I made that for my
Nice.
point.
That's an awesome ornament.
Thank you, thank you. And
Yes, I like
Got a
it.
good
being that
color too.
sometimes I'm OCD, I'm color coordinating my ferrules. So this way
Sue,
when
you
I
can hang that on my tree if you'd like.
okay.
You can
Okay,
drill a
well,
hole in the side of the trunk of your tree and make a limb out of it.
yeah, and if someone
Ah.
comes close, it's gonna point the heck out of them.
Right?
Well, you-
I'd like to
can
find
open
that in my
open.
stocking, not hanging on the tree.
I know,
Exactly.
really. So there's the first one,
What'd
And
you make it out of, Stu?
a detail gouge, and that came out pretty good too.
Nice.
What'd you
Wow.
make it out of?
It's
What kind
ash.
of wood?
It's ash.
Okay.
That's nice.
Thank you.
Good
Those are
job.
pretty.
What'd you use for your dye?
Very nice.
I used whatever was it Craft Supplies, one of those. Just regular
Okay.
green dye
Dye,
where I
yeah.
where I used it full strength.
Yeah.
It wasn't a trans tint dye, no, it was some other dye. And then I used it was a golden green gilding from Deco Art. And
That's what did that.
yes, and I used Matt's suggestion. It's water soluble instead of alcohol soluble. So I went and I made it a little bit thinner and I put it in there. And then, no, before I put it in there, I put the dye in there, let it dry, put a couple of coats of 3408 on there to seal it. And then I put the gilding in. And then I started polishing, knowing that the stain would still be there.
Right.
Then after that, I put a few more coats of, I put 2 coats of 3408 and a coat of 3460, or that's a medium CA, and put that on there and polished it.
Cool.
So yeah, and I
It,
polished
it gives it a Spectraply look. It's really cool.
Really
Doesn't it?
nice.
I
It's a
really
great
like
effect.
And what's
Yeah.
really nice is that is a detail controlled tool, and you kept the handle short so you can actually keep
purpose.
the control of it. Good job.
Yes.
On
Nice.
purpose. And
Good job.
the next tools I have are 3/8 inch. I forget the color of that ferrule. I think it's red or blue, and I'll be doing color coordinated bottoms
There you
for it.
go.
That way I know they're mine.
Yep.
There you go.
Oh,
Very
I
good
job,
actually,
Stu.
guys.
I actually, just looking at her spindle gouge reminded me, I actually reground my spindle gouge this week.
To
Thank
what?
you.
Nice.
Thank you very much, Mr. Soleil. I appreciate that. And it works like a dream.
Yep.
Yep, that's the way to go.
Yeah, the biggest thing I used it on the
Great tool.
I used it on the goblet. The biggest thing for me to remember was where to start the cut or what angle to keep it to start the cut. Once I honed in on that, it was all good.
You know real quick when
Good
it's
for
hot.
you.
Yeah, because it's like any other precision sharp tool. If you go in at the wrong angle, you're going to catch it.
Yep.
Amen.
Which I'm sure you learned.
But oh yeah, but once you figure out, yeah, oops, skate back. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm glad that he did it on our site because, he did so much when he was here at the house. I can't remember everything, Oh, crap.
Keep in mind, Mark has done that grind in one of the earlier demos, 3 years ago too. So he's done
Yeah.
that at least 2 times that I remember.
Well,
You have
he
to-
was
And
here
it seems
and I-
like he may have done it last spring as well.
Yeah,
You have
probably.
to remember the east-west rule.
That's it.
Yes.
Well,
That's
he,
it.
Never forget the east-west rule.
he was
Right.
very
I did the same
concerned.
thing.
He was very concerned when I was doing
But speaking of
survey.
east and west, look at the east
Remember,
and west on
Mark?
this guy.
Yeah.
We're just going to go ahead and jump to him. I'm sorry. I'll get to the other folks that are in front of him, but that was before him. But
You go,
just
Mark.
seems fitting to bring Mark. Mark, you awake?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, okay. Bat your eyes.
I'm gonna try to show this. That's a Banksia
Wow.
pod Christmas tree.
Wow, that's a big one.
Cool.
Very
I
nice.
like it.
And let me get the bottom here.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Now the secret to the Banksia seed pod, right, is you have to use a torch to burn off the little fuzz. So number one, you definitely want to be in a ventilated area.
Yeah.
Number two, right, to finish off the bottom, you make a hollow jam chuck and you stick the point into the hollow, and then you've got your tailstock jamming it in so you don't mess up your little finial.
Okay.
And then I sprayed this because you pick out the seeds with a dental pick and then just put it on a little something where you can twist it around, and it's got a little bit of a spray Krylon on it, gloss Krylon. But they're a lot of fun, and I've sold hundreds of these things. The ladies love them at Christmas time.
Oh, it's beautiful,
Nice.
Mark.
Awesome.
Very
You mean the
pretty.
ladies love you at Christmas time, Mark?
The more the merrier.
Right on. Well, thanks, Mark, for sharing.
Merry
to see you
Christmas,
tonight.
Mark.
Merry Christmas, everybody else.
Yes, Merry Christmas, Mark. All right, let's go to Homa. What's up, Homa?
I'm up. I'm up. I was
Yeah.
sleeping. I did some
Uh-huh.
Christmas ornaments.
No way.
These are Bob Moffat's, inspired by Bob Moffat.
Where's your birds?
I can't.
Now, where are the birds?
I got the same problem I've had. My wife brought some home and they were too big.
Well, I thought he
She
was gonna
went
say
and
they
got some
flew
of
the
them,
coop.
They flew south for
But,
the winter. That's where they went.
But it was inspired by Bob Moffat, and I watched. I just found out recently that our videos that we do here on Worldwide Woodturners are actually uploaded to YouTube.
Yes.
They are available
Yeah.
on YouTube. I didn't know that.
Yes, they are.
But so we're all freaking stars. We just didn't know it. But
I like
this is
I-
canary wood and some purple heart.
Very
I like
nice.
I like
Yeah,
the shape
yeah.
of the roof, Billy.
Yeah, that roof.
Yeah,
is
that
cool.
was just this is I only done 2 roofs. So yeah, so this is the just like I said, picked up from what he had, and
I like it.
Yep.
that's all I got.
Yeah,
That's
nice
the only
job on
Christmas
that,
ornament
on
I've
the little
turned.
bead bowl. Right
All
on.
good. Thanks, man.
Good job. Good to see you're healing up good too, buddy.
Oh, so yeah, it's about time for round 4.
Oh my.
I know. It's never gonna be over.
Yeah, we keep thinking about you.
Yep.
All right, let's
all
go
good.
to let's go back to Michigan here.
Oh, talk about
Yes,
wake up
Homa.
somebody. There he is.
We'll
Yeah,
catch
I was
Matt
awake.
before
I'm
he
just
starts
I'm just
napping.
here. Yep. So I'll start with a birdhouse ornament also.
Hey,
Very nice.
Nice.
So
My
in
bad,
honor
my
of Birdhouse Bob.
I'll tell you, the students have become the masters. It's just like in Star Wars.
I love the things you do with these, Bob. They're great fun, and I love making them. They're fun too. And
Yeah,
I've got
real
another
quick.
ornament here, which you guys have seen this before, but this is a sea urchin, spray
Is that for
painted silver.
seagulls?
Yeah,
Got a birdhouse for seagulls?
no.
Ah,
But I can
What
add
color is
I can add a purple bearded gnome.
Oh, I like
ooh,
that.
look at that.
That is cool.
there
I
you
like
go,
the
Billy Burt.
purple.
You little bit of dye, Billy. That's all you need.
Oh yeah.
You can buy this stuff. You can buy it that
That
way.
almost looks like my beard during COVID when my daughter dyed it.
My
There's pictures on my page. You guys go back and check it out.
my granddaughter has dyed my beard purple once, and my daughter dyed
Yeah.
my beard purple once. And apparently my beard hair and the purple dye they use don't like each other very well, because within a few days it was pink, and I would just
Yeah. That's what happened to
I-
mine. It turned to a fuchsia pink.
I couldn't wait for that to wear off.
Don't look too close. Don't look too closely at my pictures from Ron Campbell's about 4 years ago, because Sally Alt and Rebecca de Groot gave me a purple mohawk. So
There you go. There you go. Right head. Made you a ridge head, huh?
Is that girl as crazy as she acts like she is? She
Who?
looks like she's crazy.
Rebecca?
Rebecca.
which
Oh.
girls? Which girls?
Well,
Sally or Rebecca?
they
Yeah, I
both
guess
are
both are.
actually, but Rebecca, yeah.
loves being with all the Turners. She's like a
Yeah.
superstar.
That's-
She is.
That's what I thought too.
She just hangs out. Well, she was she grew up in Grand Rapids, and she knows Ron from when she started turning. So her first club was the Grand Rapids Club, which Ron Campbell was the president of at the time. She was like 15 years old or something when she first came into the club.
Oh,
And
wow.
so he's known her forever. And
Yeah, she's a sweetheart. She's she's a hell of an artist.
yeah, she's amazing.
I can see that.
And her out of the box thinking is really fun to be around.
It
Very
really
creative.
is. I agree,
And
man.
she's a lot of fun. And yeah, she's crazy. But Campbell's tends to generate that in people too, because you got people. Sally Alt seems like the most conservative person in the world, and you get her out there with Rebecca and some of the other people, and it gets a little nuts. So
Yep.
That's good.
it's a lot of fun.
All right, we got just a few. We're going to try to do 3 more galleries
Wanna
before
do
we
3
get
more?
Scott. Yeah, and then we'll go to Scott.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, let's go to Scott, the other Scott from the cold weather. Hey, Scott,
I'm here.
nice to see you don't have any icicles.
Not yet. But I do have a baby Christmas tree.
Ooh,
Oh, that's
see there.
cool.
Yeah, that's cute.
And then I tried my first, don't look at the body, just look at the hat. I did my first off-turned center hat on a snowman.
Oh, nice.
And it turned out pretty well. I
How
just don't
did
like
that
the
look?
body. The body didn't get in proportion.
But
Can
it
you
looks
pull
great.
back though? There we go.
That's not so bad.
But the hat
That's
turned out
fine.
really
Not
cool.
bad.
That's not bad at all. I like that. That's cute.
God,
Yeah.
I've
But
I've
the
made
off center part
snowmen
of the
like
hat's
that.
pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think everybody's
Yeah.
missing what he did. He actually, the hat's offset.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
brim of the hat
Yeah.
and the top of the hat.
Yep.
Yeah.
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 That's
It's
different.
Yep.
I like-
Part of
There's
the
a
part of
couple
the
of us
brim
picked
is
up on it.
part of the brim is bigger. I saw that. That's
Wow,
cool.
that's cool.
That is
Good
really
job.
cool.
Good job,
My,
Scott. And
my
it's all
wife
one
has a
piece.
stuffed snowman that had an off-center hat like that, and I thought, boy, wouldn't it be cool to turn one like that? So that I tried it. It worked pretty good.
Yeah, good
That'd
job.
be good for a little fireman snowman. That way
Yeah.
they can have a bigger brim in the back.
Yep, you could.
Yeah, good idea.
Just something I seen somebody sewn something, and I thought, well, that looked pretty cool. So the next one I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to bend it like a cowboy hat, make it thin enough to bend, steam it and bend it.
Ooh, that would be nice.
Ooh.
That's a good concept.
So that hopefully in the next couple weeks I'll get one started to dry that too.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
great.
Yeah, look forward to seeing that, Scott.
Hopefully it don't break. I'm going to try it with maple and see how it works. I have a lot of maple rejects from piano benches, so it's all nice straight grain.
You
Maple.
know, if you take any wood, get it heated up, bend it in one direction, and then straighten it out, put it back in the kiln or the steam pot, take it back out and bend it in another direction. You've broken all the lignums in the wood. You should be able to twist it.
Oh, that'd be cool too.
Yeah, just that you know.
Have you tried? You've done that, Sue?
No, but a mentor of mine does it all the time, and his name is
Oh.
Michael Fortune, and
Okay.
he came out with that technique, and you can go to his website michaelfortune.com, but he does some miraculous things. He doesn't do anything
Oh.
linear; it's all curves and rounds.
Oh,
Yeah.
Cool.
Can you drop that into the chat, please?
I sure can.
Awesome. All right. So we got number 2 out of 3. Let's go to Mansfield. Hey, Bob.
Yeah, hey guys. I guess we're on ornaments, so let me stay with that line a little bit. You know, I showed this last week. I showed an ornament, and but this time I actually went and made me a bird. I couldn't.
I like that.
I'm like the other guy. You know, I've got little bitty ornaments. These are like, you know, I like the 1.5 inch stock, and this one's a little bigger. But that little ornament turned out pretty good. And I can't.
Turned out great.
Yeah, I can't find the birds. Let me move the camera a little bit here and show you a bird. Let me turn some light on maybe. But oops, where did I go here? Okay, so there's the smallest bird I can find, which is 1 inch. And then I bought these, that was at Michael's. That was the smallest thing I could find. And then I found this little piece of plastic. I think that really goes in a Christmas tree. But that I found I can grind that. I have a, ooh, make everybody sick here. I have a little 3/8 inch drum sander. It goes in a Dremel. And I can sand the front of it to make, the left side of it here to make the tail. And then I can sand the stem over here and just actually cut it off and make a little short beak. And then I colored the beak. But I thought it turned out pretty good. I thought it made a pretty good little bird.
It did.
And at least it kind of matches the size of my ornament, because all these others.
Yeah, it's more proportion. Yeah.
Turn the plastic thing out of wood and you could do the same thing.
Yeah, you could make it out of wood.
Yeah.
Right.
But the little plastic ones, they're all exactly alike and they're cheap and you know, so anyway, here's let me put this camera back down here. And here's another ornament. And I think y'all all seen these. Those are those twice drilled, or I think you call them twice drilled ornaments. And, you know, I hang little angels in them. But this is 1.5 inch stuff. I'm sorry.
What are they called?
The little angel, I think it's a twice drilled. You drill them, you know, one direction. You turn it around, it's a square block, what you start out with.
Yeah.
This one here was 1.5 inch square, and you hold it in your chuck, and you can drill one direction halfway through, and then you turn around and you drill from the other side halfway through. And then you and you flip it again and you do the other side. So you actually drill it 4 times.
Yeah, okay.
Then you flip it the other direction and drill like a 1/4 inch hole in the bottom of it, so that you can put a finial on here.
Oh, okay.
So these are easy to make, but I like to use the 1.5 inch stock. It's, you know, makes a small light little ornament, and make it out of pine, and that's what the most of mine are made out of. Here is a bigger example of it, same thing, but I decided I wanted a bird in it, so. This one here is a 3-inch ornament.
Wow.
Wow.
Very nice. Very nice.
A lot of room here to
Really pretty.
Put the little bird ornaments in it, and you know, different things in here, so it kind of sits in it. But anyway, those are good.
Could you do 3? Could you do a 3-hole? Instead of 4?
I don't know. This is a square block. You'd have to start out with a round block.
I'm just okay.
Yeah, the way to do that is to start off with a hexagonal block.
There you go.
Cross section, 6 sides, and you drill 6 holes. You know, so you'd get 6 posts instead of 4.
Yeah.
I mean, if you wanted to do a 3, I guess you could start off with a triangle.
With triangle, yeah, triangle block and drill 3 times. You know. But yeah, you could do that. So, you know, anyway, once you get them drilled and you know, you're holding this thing between centers like this, and you turn the corners off. of your square block.
Right.
So these are easy to do. They're fun. They go real fast. But I wanted to show you the birds. The birds, I think that turned out real well, and it's a way to get a little bitty bird, because these others, and like I said, it's the smallest thing I could find, and it's not small enough. The little plastic pieces were from Hobby Lobby. And I think they really go in a Christmas tree. You know how they put the bulbs on the Christmas tree?
Right.
I think that's what this really is. But that little grinder, little sander thing worked out great.
Hobby Lobby sells miniature birds too.
They
Yeah,
do.
same-
But they do, but
same
they don't
company.
get that small.
Same company.
They're small.
It's a-
I
it's a
I
little-
bought
little
them
tiny
smaller.
ones.
I've got real small ones from them. And you just got to catch it at the right time.
I guess so. You know,
They
can
have
you
them in the
get?
doll department.
I have. That's where I got these parts. That's where I got this. But it's I can't get a 5/8 inch bird, and that's
Must have
what
got
these
big
end up
bird.
being. See, these are only 5/8 of an inch. When you get through cutting the little beak off of this thing, it's only 5/8 of an inch long.
Yeah.
And I've never seen, no matter where I look, I can't find anything that little.
Yeah, I think most of the ones I've been using, the ones I got off Amazon were between 5/8 and 3/4.
Mhm. The other thing I wanted to show, is not on ornaments, but I did make a couple of bowls.
Oh, pretty.
Did some
This is-
burning.
Yeah, burning. This is a red oak, and I like the red oak. The red oak turns out real pretty.
That process just scares me to death, Bob.
Well,
I know.
it's like anything else. You've got to realize that, hey, it is a liability. Sure, you can definitely get hurt, but I try to make it safe. I have the control as a push button switch in one hand instead of a foot switch or a power a switch you turn on and off. This is a little push button in one hand. So I've got one hand occupied, and I'm not as apt to reach out here and grab the two probes. And that's when you get in trouble, is when you grab the two probes. So here's another one. I mean, I'm not trying to talk anybody into it, but
Well, no, it's really
can be
pretty.
made safe,
Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, but here's another one. These things turn out real pretty, but you can't. There's no control. You just do it. And you can burn it too deep. This right here got probably too deep. You can see it's just on fire when it gets that deep. It just burns.
Now you guys remember when I did a demo on this, right?
Yes. And it's
Yeah,
on the,
okay.
it's published.
So I know. So what I showed is that you can control where that stuff, where the burns are, by where you paint the solution and by wood burning lines ahead of time.
Yeah,
So
it'll try to follow the wood burned line. Sure.
Yep. Yeah, it'll follow the carbon path, but it'll also follow the solution, because the wood is a natural insulator, and the solution, the conductive solution, whether you're using baking soda or borax or whatever, it'll follow that. So if you paint it, it'll follow those lines too.
Yeah, but it still comes from both ends. It's not it's not like it's only going to go from one direction up here.
Right.
That's true. Very true.
I even tried a diode. I thought, well, a diode would make it, all the current go in one direction, but that didn't work. It's still going to burn from both directions.
My mentors.
These are pretty.
Yeah, still good looking pieces.
Well, thanks. Well, anyway, that's all I got. Main thing is that bird. I've looked all over for the little bitty birds and just could not find anything small enough. But this works out great.
Yeah, good to know. Good to know. And like somebody was saying earlier, you could make that shape out of wood, and then you can make any color bird you want. You can make a zebra bird.
You can paint these. You can paint them, and that's what I did on the tip. On the beak, I just used a magic marker, Sharpie, and put a color on the beak. But you could do the same thing and take the shine off of them, But
yep.
Mike Peace, the video on how to make those little tiny birds.
Who does?
But he saw that on YouTube. Look up Mike
Peace has it.
I did.
Okay.
I think.
All right, I'll look for his.
I think his are a little bit bigger than that, but yeah, because they're turned in two pieces. But yeah.
Yeah, I know,
I'll
but
have
I
to look it
had
up
to
because I
use a
thought,
magnifying glass to find it.
yeah, I
you
saw
talk- you-
somebody make really little birds on a video. I'll have to look it up and see if I can put the link in the chat.
Yeah,
Okay.
and this is so cheap though. This was 140 pieces for $3.95.
Right.
I mean,
You got
it's
a lot
hard-
of
it's hard to make
birdhouses
them,
today.
Well, if you wait until they do the 50% off sale on their doll stuff, you can get it for half that.
That's it. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Bob, you got a lot of birdhouses to make now.
I know. My problem is if I didn't want to run out.
Forget making them out of wood.
Yeah,
Hey,
I didn't want
guys.
to run out of bird.
Hey, guys,
Yeah.
Yeah.
check this out. This is what everybody's talking about, the birds that you get at Hobby Lobby.
Yeah, I get those.
Yeah, those
You
are the
see
same
them?
ones. Those are the same
Those
ones
are-
I got from Amazon.
Yeah.
Those are
Amazon.
what?
1 inch long by 7/16 wide on the back.
Well, the length I just measured it. It's 7/8 of an inch long
Yeah,
from the nose to the tail.
yeah. So it's shorter than 1 inch, but
Yeah.
they're still
And they're
big.
$5 for what? 3, 6, 12 of them.
12 of them. Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah.
And
So
you know, it's a little tiny bird. If you yank off the tail by accident, no one will know.
Oh yeah, it does shorten it. Doesn't
Well, you're not safe here. You're just
Good to
not
know.
safe.
it?
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, with that, let's I think that's number 3. Bob, were you number 3?
Did we see Brenda? Brenda had one.
Well, let's go
Brenda,
back.
talk to us.
no, I ain't got nothing. No.
Okay, I'm sorry. It wasn't Brenda. It was Tim Hatch.
Well, we've got several more. We got Casey. Let's go to Casey next, and then
Yeah,
let's
Heather's
go to our
got-
demo.
Heather's got something too, I think I saw.
Yeah, I've got a group of people on.
I got to get started on my demo here pretty quick though.
So let's do Casey, and then let's get on to the demo. Hey,
Yeah,
Casey?
I won't take long, Scott. I only got a couple things to show.
That's okay.
Well, let's do one more gallery, and then let's go to our demo.
All right, this is Casey. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, I am a first-time caller, long-time listener. I am a student and buddy of Mark Soleil's, and I go to Mark's house quite often. He's been extremely generous with his knowledge and his time. And one of the things he's always said is if you learn proper technique, you'll eliminate frustration and increase enjoyment in the shop. And he's been helping me do that. So I found a piece of cherry crotch here that Mark and I cut down the center, and I made a couple bowls out of it. Burn the edges. And
Oh, those turned out
Parfaxed it.
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's pretty.
not too bad.
Great
And
for this day.
Call those
Right.
heart bowls.
Yes.
yeah, right, that's right. And I had another bowl from the same piece, and
Oh
this
my.
one had a bark inclusion that Mark forced me
Oh,
to
I
leave
like
in.
it. What beautiful. It's
That's
beautiful.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
Hey, Casey,
yeah.
Casey, for those heart bowls, how are you cutting the crotch piece?
Right down the center. Here's the piece, just right down here.
Yep.
Okay. All right, thanks.
And then we're crossing a bit right here to give it a purchase, and then spinning away.
It's beautiful.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Casey, hold on to those
Left looks like a
because,
butterfly.
yeah, well, for Valentine's Day, Casey, we got a challenge coming up or a gallery called Show Me Your Crotch. Now, show me your crotch.
Do I have to wait until Valentine's Day?
Yeah, it's Valentine's Day, so keep them
Ah.
around.
All right,
But look,
all right.
remember the rule, nobody tell Doug, all right?
Hey, I mean, I'll be more than happy to show the crotch as long as we keep the no butt guarantee that time too.
Well, it's always a no butt guarantee.
Beautiful. All right then.
Always. We don't say anything.
All right. Well, with that, thank you, Casey, for showing that, and welcome. And
Thank you,
yeah,
guys.
we're glad to hear that you're under the tutelage of Mr. Slice Master. So with that, let's get on with our demo. We have Scott Hampton, that is prepared to do something for us tonight.
Are you sure?
Scott, you out
Is
there?
it me? Am I supposed to do
Yeah.
something?
Yeah,
Wow.
I think so.
All right. Well, I
so.
just want to let you guys know I'm all watching you. So, see. So you better watch my demo. Santa
Yeah,
says
now I
so.
found you. You know, you changed your name.
Yeah.
I love that you've got a Festivus poster back there. That's great fun.
Oh,
And-
Festivus.
And
Yes.
just know, Scott, whatever
Festivus for the rest
I've
of
done
us.
this year, I have no regret.
Okay, let's
Yep.
do the starting intro for all the demos right now. This is Scott Hampton's demo. He's going to show it, folks. If you have a question, you may ask the question during the seminar, the demonstration. But if you have a comment, which is different than a question, hold on to those comments till we wrap up. We're going to do a Q&A, okay? We'd like to see them
Thanks,
then.
Scott.
We're
Thank
going
you.
to mute. We're going to mute everybody right now. And Scott, you have to unmute yourself in about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And unmute yourself. I have you muted. That's it. Cut it behind the curtain.
There we go. Hiding behind
right.
the curtain. You
That's
guys
okay.
can
We
hear
do
me now,
that
right?
so we don't pick up any sound. Yes.
All right. Good. All right. Welcome to my shop again here in Central California. This is the Christmas ornament demo. I'll be showing how to make one of these little babies. Ooh. This is a big leaf maple burl from Oregon, and the black is ebony. So hopefully if I have enough time, I'll be making 2 different types of finials. But instead of this type of finial, I want to do, the first one will be on making the icicle type finial that I learned from Bob Roseanne many, many years ago. He's pretty much retired from wood turning now. So anybody that's been around wood turning for a while know who Bob Roseanne is. He is a miniature type. He turned a lot of miniature stuff, and he is really, really known for his ornaments. And I was fortunate enough to take a in-person all-day lesson class with him. And it really got me started in all these ornaments, you know, back in 2008. So it's been doing it for a while. So let me switch cameras here. All right, so this is a piece of big leaf maple burl, and it's got some spalting in it, just like that ornament I just showed you. So hopefully it's deep enough for it's going to show up once I get it turned around. So that will be really, really pretty. I really like to add the spalting to it. It adds a little bit of a character to the ornaments and just plain stuff like burl's ever plain, right? So I got to kick on the lathe here. There we go. We got power. Yay. And we'll get this thing running. And what I need to do is put my little helmet down. Hopefully I don't sound too much like Darth Vader, but we'll see. Let me know.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You sound good.
So I turn these kind of fast. It is on a glue block, and I use normal wood glue to glue it to it. I've tried CA, and about 2 out of 10 would always pop off. So I decided just to switch over to using regular glue, and I use rubber bands around it just to clamp it together and let it sit for a couple of days, and they're great that way. So I'm just going to start turning it around. I'm going to use pretty much the whole turning with this shallow flute spindle gouge that I've got. It's got about a 40-degree grind on it, and it's perfect for making the curves on this. So first thing I want to do is rough turn it and get it round. I'm going to turn up my weight just a little bit more. Faster I go, the less choppy the cut is. So I got about 2,600 RPMs right now. So this piece of burl is acting a little tough, but I'll get through it. So I'll just take some lighter cuts, not so deep. There we go. We got it nice and round, I believe. We're going to stop the lathe and have a look just to make sure. And we still have a little flat spot. That's fine. That's going to get turned away. You just want it generally round. There's some really pretty grain in there, and we did get to keep the spalting, which is what I always look for with pieces like this. So I'm going to switch my cameras. Hopefully I get the right one. Oh, let's see. There we go. This is going to allow you to see turning on the top and around the side there. So I'm going to zoom in that camera so you guys can see it just a little bit better. There we go. So what I want to do is I'm just creating like an oval shaped bead. I'm going to do the right side that's towards the tailstock first. So I want to take my tool rest and just slide it over on an angle. And what I want to do is I'm just going to create just a straight chamfer right here first before I start creating the curve. Just for general, keep my eye on things. I'm just going to kind of eyeball the center of this. Do my best. In fact, I'm going to bring the center up just a little bit further up to give it a more longer look on the bottom and a shorter on the top. And this will be where the top of the curve is right there. So I'm just creating a straight chamfer across it. No curve yet. This is what makes this kind of cutting easier instead of just trying to make it back and forth with the curve constantly trying to create that bead. That's where I want to stop on this angle. I'm going to bring my lathe down around again. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to create a second chamfer here. You can see it forming already just by doing this. And I can leave a little bit of a flat on the bottom because I'm about ready to turn all that away. I'm just going to do one sweeping cut, maybe two, just to join those two chamfers together and create a curve. So I want to start with the flute straight up, bevel rubbing without cutting. Then I'll lift the back of the handle up until I start getting a cut. And then I'm going to twist the tool handle. At the same time, swing that handle away towards the lip redways. I'm taking too big of a cut there, so I'm going to come back and take this down. And I'll come back and pick this up. And I'll come back and just kind of clean that cut up a little bit. Got some high spots on it there. All right, I'm just going to sit back and take a look at it. The curve looks really, really good. So I'm just going to do a pull cut towards me, just to kind of clean everything up using the wing of the tool there. Flute almost closed. And I just kind of start on my right foot, with my left foot behind me, and I just kind of lean back and follow that curve around with that wing. And that's pretty good for, you want to make sure you get most of the dips out of it that you can find or see at this point.
It's pretty good for government work.
Pardon?
I said, that's excellent for government work.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it looks good.
All right, so I'm going to turn off the lathe because I really need to move this, the tool rest around back this way, and I'm close to the jaws, so I do not want to have the lathe running when I get this close to the jaws. Just in case it gets caught in there, you're going to be in big trouble. So that's what I want. I want a slight dome here, and it's going to be like a shorter dome coming back this way, because that way there's more wood showing off that spalting, and I won't be cutting so much away. That's why I wanted to make the shape this way. First thing I want to do is I'm just going to start creating V cuts right here. Cutting this down. Just going back and forth, mostly on the glue block here. Get a lot of that picking out of the way. And I'm just going to do the same thing here. I'm just going to kind of round this part over, kind of join that curve in. And then I just want to do the same thing, but I got to do it the opposite way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on my right foot. I'm going to lean over on my left as I make this curve cut. So I got the bevel facing up, lift the back of the handle until I start getting a cut, do a twist and a push and lean back towards your headstock. I'll have to do this a couple of times here just to get the shape right. And one more. Just going to clean this out of the way first. Now you want to save some of this because you do need to hollow it out still, but you do want to get the general shape in first. Because it is harder to take these more aggressive cuts when it's hollow, because it can cause some vibration issues and maybe make the globe crack. So I'm just going to clean this off in this area here and use my wing and I'm going to finish that shape after I hollow it. I just want to leave that mask there. So I'm using my wing just to clean this up back here. And I do see a line that formed right there. So I'm going to come back and go the opposite way. And some sanding is going to take care of this too. So, all right. So we got the shape pretty much done. So I want to grab me my parting tool. I'm going to turn off the lathe before I move my tool rest away from this. What I want to do next is I need to create a divot right in the center there for the drill bit to go in. So I'll be using 2 different size drill bits. Just that way the drill bit doesn't wander off and try to follow the grain pattern of a crazy piece of burl. So you need to turn the lathe down quite a bit. And the first drill bit I'm going to use is a 5/8. And I'm just going to go part way in. I'm just going to keep an eye on that. But sometimes I'm just going to mark it just to show you guys that new to making these type of ornaments. This is the best way to make sure you don't go all the way through, because I use 2 different size drill bits, a larger one on the bottom and a smaller one on the top, and I'll explain why I do that in just a little while. So I got about 20 millimeters there that I want to go in. So I'm going to measure that on the drill bit. There you go. You at least don't want to go deeper than that. You can go more shallow and the hollowing tools will take care of it once you reach that point. So I got the lathe turned all the way down. And I'm going to turn it up to about 400 or 500. And let's see. Always hold on to the chuck. Keeps it from spinning. Maybe in your Morse taper, there's no guarantee it's going to be in there tight. And I've had them, I've let go before, and all of a sudden the thing starts spinning in there, and it's not fun to try to fix that. So, oh, there you go. So I'm just keeping an eye on that green mark. This wood is really dry. I bought it and brought it home back in 2005. It's been sitting around my shop for quite a while. That's typical of this kind of wood. When you're backing it out, it's going to squeak at you. And you want to back it up all the way. We're going to take that drill bit out and put a 3/8 in. This is a 5/8 drill bit that I just used. And Dane, if anybody writes any questions in the chat, could you just relay them to me? I'd really appreciate that.
Certainly, no problem.
All right. So this one's going to go all the way through to the into the glue block. It's going to find that little point that the Forstner bit left inside. And you'll be able to hear the difference when it gets into the glue block. The entire sound will change. Like just like that. Plus the color of the chips coming out will be different. And you can also glance in there to make sure you went all the way through. And I did. All right. So now we're going to hollow it. First, we want to get this out of the way. You don't want that in the tailstock when you're running the handle around back here and you let your elbow run into that sharp point of the drill bit. Oh, nose getting a little runny tonight. It's a little chilly in my shop this evening. So, all right. Hollowing tools. Where are you? There we go. So this is the hollowing tool I'm going to use. It's a Mike Joukowsky rocket tool with a #1 Hunter carbide bit. The difference between this carbide bit and the kind you find on like easy wood tools is this one's cupped. You see that cup there, it's not flat. And it's very, very sharp, very difficult to sharpen in your own shop. The good thing is you can't adjust it when it feels dull. Just turn it a little bit, screw it back down. I've been using this tip for 2 years, probably a good 250 ornaments, and it's still going. So the most danger you have of these are if they hit a hard surface, they crack and break. They're very brittle if you don't take care of them like that. If they hit the floor, you got to buy a new one. Good thing is they only cost like 25 bucks. So I got 2 years worth of, and a whole lot of ornaments out of that one. I'm not complaining about the cost at all.
Yeah,
All right,
sounds
so
like
we
it's
want to
worth
bring, huh? Yeah.
Sounds like it's worth it. Yeah, good
Oh
quality
yeah.
cutter.
Hunter tools are real. The tips he makes are top notch. So you want to adjust the tool rest where this tip is going to be running on center. Just want to bring it in. I need to back up my tool rest just a little bit more. There we go. Make sure when you swing this hand around or the back handle, it's not going to run into the rest there. So I'm going to switch different cameras so you guys can see. Not that one. Do that. Oh, that's weird. I got overhead. Pardon while I do this here. Can't find the right one. It's not the one I want. I wanted the opposite. Okay, so we'll just do the total side view there. You guys can see everything. I was hoping you guys could see my side of things. There we go. The remote fell on the ground. It's not where it belongs. So I'm going to widen this shot out. And you guys will be able to see how I'm swinging the tool around, plus what it's doing inside there. So that's two pretty good shots right there.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
All right. So we want to turn this down. You don't want to do this fast. Probably about 900 RPMs, between 900 and 1,000 is good for these tips. Because they can, if you're going too fast, they can tend to get a bit grabby. But you want to put it in there and start cutting. You want to turn that tip over to about 45 degrees on the inside there. You can see where it's at. And we're just going to do some back and forth cuts. I'm not worried about measuring wall thickness or anything. This is just to lighten the ornament. So when it's on a natural tree, it doesn't weigh down the branch. On a fake tree, you don't really have to worry about that so much. But it's good to have a nice light ornament, I think. The only thing you don't want to do, you don't want to go through the side. So you don't want to go too thin either. And I forgot to bring my air hose over here, so I'm just gonna have to do it the old fashioned way. First, I'm gonna put my finger in there, see how much I'm taking off. All right, so I could use a little bit in the middle. I like to leave a little bit of meat where that little hole is, because that's where all the weight and glue is gonna be to hold the ornament on the tree. And that would be the most fragile part. So I leave a little extra thickness here on this end, just right in this area where we drilled that hole. So I can just take a little bit of that down. Probably shouldn't, probably break the thing maybe. So you just want to turn the tool over on its side. Just go back and forth on that little thickness a little bit, not much. And it could use a little more thinning, I felt in there, so. It goes pretty quick once you get into a production run. Because when I'm in a production run, what I will do is I'll mark where I'm in between the jaws on the glue block. I'll shape the outside, grab another one, shape the outside, and so on and so forth. Then I'll drill it out and hollow it. I'll go back and do that several times. It makes it a little bit quicker. And the hole is there, yep. So I don't want to take it out yet, but we're done there. I'm not worried about any shavings because it didn't really build up too much in there. So now what we want to do is finish shaping the outside, parting it off, which is pretty easy to do, really. You just got to be able to trust yourself when you're getting in between these two small places between the jaws and the ornament here. So what I'm going to do is I'll start with the tool I had, and I might switch over to a regular smaller spindle gouge so I can get down in there. We'll see how it goes. I need to turn this up. Back up to about 2,700 RPMs. So I'm just going to start peeling some of this away. Careful not to get all the way up to the ornament quite yet. You got to remember you got that 3/8 inch hole in there too, so you don't want to go too deep with that yet. So we're going to turn the tool almost on its side with the flute facing towards the headstock. I'm just going to kind of.
Scott, any chance we can switch camera view?
Oh, sorry. There we go.
There we go.
Sorry.
Perfect.
You can see how I took all that wood away. Right there. You can still see where that glue block is right in there. That's why I like to use an entirely different color glue block compared to the blank, so I can tell which one is which.
Yeah, smart.
Okay, so we can take a little bit more of that before I get my thin parting tool and part this off. There, seems like my bevel is leaving a little bit, some burn marks, but we'll clean that up real quick here. And we'll just do that, flip it over, flute almost closed, and we'll do a pull cut towards me. Clean up that shape a little bit, and that'll also get rid of those little burn marks. And I'm going to take a look, see, I'm going to stop the lathe and see how far I've come into. So I need to take a little bit more off right there. I can see the glue block in the way. I can still see some attached right there. So I just want to turn it almost here. You got the flute at about 45 degrees, so it'll fit into this tiny little spot a little bit better. There we go. That's what I was looking for. I can tell now that all that glue block is gone. Come in here, clean that up. Just like that. And at this point, this is where some of the sanding would come in. So I'm just going to touch it with some, just some 180 real quick, just to kind of clean it up. Because I really want to put at least an oil finish on it so you guys can see how pretty this grain is. You want to turn the blade down to about 600. I got a real sensitive speed dial on my lathe, so I got very touchy. And this will get rid of any small tool marks like high spots. This helps refine the shape. I wouldn't start with anything lower than 180 because it's going to leave a lot of scratches in, especially if you're using a burl like this. And then you just got to work all those scratches out using more and more different grits of sandpaper. That can take a lot of time. So I always try to make my cuts good enough to where I can just sand with 180. And it's not hard to do if you just spend the time practicing. And what you want to do too, when you get down and you're really kind of done with the roughing and you're just getting that shape just right, treat those as that one cut's going to be the last cut you make. Even though it won't be, if you treat it that way, you'll learn to get that lighter touch on your tool. You won't leave so many tool marks behind. So I think that looks pretty good. Oops. Grab me a paper towel, kind of wipe the dust off. Now it's ready to part off. And I will be reversing this using a shop-made mandrel. I'll show you guys how to make real quick. Very easy. I use a thin parting tool. And I just work my way right down there and make sure I'm getting like half the burl and half the glue block. We don't want to leave any glue block left on the piece. You can just hold it. Don't put your finger in the hole to hold it. And it'll just pop off in your hand just like that. So as you can see, when you part it off, it does leave a little bit of a residue. Sometimes you could hide that with a large finial on the top, but this looks a little too big. So I'm going to show you how to make that mandrel real quick. First, I'll just see if I got one that's, I have like 3 or 4 different size ones already made. Let me see if one of those will fit that before I go through all the mandrel hunting. So these are the mandrels. And you'll see why I use a smaller hole here. It's going to allow me to reverse it. So this is 3/8. I always use the 3/8 for the small hole. You can make the mandrel any size you really want, but it has to be the same size as that hole you drill. And then this part right here is tapered. And it allows you to. So this one's not quite the right size. That's why I have like 2 or 3 of them in here. That's one I usually have good luck with.
There you go.
Just like that. As you can see, they're not really that hard to make. You just measure this hole with calipers and you just make it that size right there and then just create a taper. This is 5/8, so I try to get the 5/8 about right in the center there. And that way, if the hole's a little bit bigger, it'll still work. And sometimes if you rub the hollowing tools on that hole, it will widen it up some. And I think that's what happened here. So, and there's my mark. So I'll put that between 1 and 2 of my jaws. So that's where I always mark my mandrels and things like that between 1 and 2. So it'll line up and it won't, hopefully it won't be running out of true. Been using this mandrel a lot this last season, so hopefully it's holding up pretty good here. And it's running just a little bit out. I don't want that, so I can probably twist the ornament. Sometimes that helps. Okay, so this part needs to go in a little further. That's pretty true because all we need to do is just clean up this area here and get some sandpaper back there and around the side there. Well, we already sanded back here, so it's mostly up here. Just want to make sure that's good and tight. Now, if you're unsure if this is going to be tight enough, let me show you another thing I do. I grab my tail center. And I have a little copper fitting from the hardware store. Let me put my tools up in the rack. They're not underfoot. Where is that little thing? So it's just a little copper coupling, and it fits right there, right up against the threads of my tail center there. Just bring this up. And this can help, especially if you really need to shape the top in there and you really couldn't get to it earlier when it was on the glue block. Just wheel this right up in here. It's like that. You don't want to squish it because it'll crack it. This is just to settle it down. That needs to be adjusted just a little bit. You want that copper running as true as you can. Looks like I pretty much got it there. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to grab me a smaller tool, my small spindle gouge, and just clean up this little area right here. Let me get that in focus. You can see that. That's where the glue was, right in here. You want to really kind of clean that up if you can. Grab me a smaller 1/2 inch spindle gouge here. And I'm just going to do some draw cuts there just to clean that up. You don't need to be turning real fast for this. Usually do it under 1,000.
Can you do your overview camera?
Oh yeah, there we go.
Yep, nice.
So I'm just going to bring it in with the fluid almost closed, and I'm just going to almost bring it up to that coupler. I just want to clean that up. Get rid of some of that glue residue. That way there's a clean surface for the finial to glue to. It's like that. So if you're doing any turning like this, it's best to have your tailstock up here in some form or fashion. So just needs a little bit more. Now you all know what I do. I make 250 of these ornaments a year, thereabouts. And now I just want to blend those two, make sure the curve blends together. Sure, I got pretty much that glue gone. Yep. I can back this off and see how tight it is. So it's still going to spin on me, so I'm not going to do any more turning. This will be covered up by that finial. I just don't like a big wide finial on these to try to cover up any bad looking wood, but that's good enough right there. And this is a good time you can grab a piece of sandpaper and just finish sanding the front. This was hard to get to when it was turned around on the glue block. There we go. Let's have a look. Looks pretty smooth, feels smooth. So I'm going to grab me a folded paper towel and some walnut oil. That way we can see this. Get rid of that. That way we can see the color of the grain pop on this. This is a pasteurized walnut oil made for finishing. I buy 2 kinds. This is Doctor's Wood Shop, and I also like to use Mike Mahoney's. The difference being Mike Mahoney's walnut oil has it's got a brownish tint to it. And this is, like, as you can see, is really, really clear. And this is why I like to use this on the burl, because it brings out its true colors without adding any deepness or offset colors that might not be natural to the piece. And that really brought out, you can see the
yeah, it's a nice figure.
Really nice figure in this, and I love the spalting on it. And I'll just get the oil I can there, and I can pop it off. And so I left a little bit of dry spot there for for glue, same on the bottom. That way the glue doesn't have to fight the oil just to hold on to the finials. And I quickly just wipe off any excess. And if I was doing this in real time, I'd put it aside. I'd come back in a couple days, apply another coat. And these will end up with 4 or 5 coats. And then sometimes I'll apply a high gloss wax to them using the same mandrel and buff it up. And sometimes I just leave it as the oil. I don't like to spray them. Gives it an artificial kind of look when you spray burl, in my opinion. So I'm going to put that aside and we can get the mandrel out and we can get started on a couple of finials. How are we on time, Dane?
Oh, you're doing fabulous. No worries.
I know we started the demo a little later than we usually do, so.
Right. No, you're good.
All right. So let's do that one icicle ornament or finial, because there's a bunch of videos on how to make onion finials on YouTube, including my channel. Did I put my key? There you are. I need to take this off the lathe here. I need to put my pin jaws in here. I think you guys will like the icicle type of finials. You don't see too many people making them anymore, but I really enjoy it.
Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah.
A lot of people are, you know, you see all kinds of different shapes of onion finials everywhere, but not these kinds. So I'm grabbing me a piece of maple. Just kind of, I'm gonna use maple to make it. I kind of like to make these type of finials out of maple because they tend to stand out better on a tree than a dark like ebony would. Ebony's great for the onion shape type, but once you see this, you'll see why I need a light color for this one. So this one's got a lot of figure in it. And that will show up in the finial when it's done. This one's rather plain. So I'm going to go with the figured one. I haven't really had any trouble with whether it's figured or not breaking apart on me or snapping in half while I'm turning it. These are 1 inch square by 6 inches long. And what I'll probably get both the top finial and the bottom finial out of this. Okay, so I'm just tightening it up enough just to check on the, make sure it's running true. Just give it a few taps. Doesn't have to be perfect because we are going to turn it around. And I do this without the tailstock in place. It's a little too much. You want to try to get this as close as you can. So I'm going to bring up my good way to check this is you put your thumb right in the middle there and you're touching the corner and you just spin it. And if it feels equal, then you're pretty much there. And that feels really good right there. So I can tighten it down. You want to make sure that you don't need to bottom it out in here. In fact, that makes it a little more difficult to get it running true. The bottom piece is up against the bottom of the jaws. So I like to leave at least 3/4 of an inch or 3/4 of the piece inside the jaws without touching the bottom. But you want to really crank it down good. This is going to be overhanging, no support. Another nose wipe here. You got it's so cold outside. I got most of I don't have any windows or ventilation going right now. It's believe it or not, Central California right now, it's 38 degrees outside. Surprising being in California, right? Now,
Yes, it is.
Those you guys in Canada and stuff, I feel for you, but we're having a little bit of a cold snap ourselves here, and Central California, and it's supposed to get colder before, and then it's supposed to warm up into the 60s the day after Christmas. This is really odd.
Yeah, it's cold here in Tucson too, Scott.
Yeah, I think that cold snap's everywhere. All right, so you want to bring your tool rest up. You want to adjust the height. I put it right there on an angle, and just below that part, I'll tighten my tool rest. It's like that. Put my helmet down, and I'm going to use a small, I believe it's a 1 1/4. I always forget the size of this thing. Oh yeah, it's a 3/4 inch roughing gouge, which is great for these. You don't need one of those big, you can use a big one, but for me, I think that's overkill. And I bought this one back in, wow, over 10 years ago from Packard, and I'm still using it, still going great. And for this one, you want to really roll up the feet up. And I'll show you why in a second here. So let me slow it back down to like 1,000. And you're going to hear something in the cut as to why I turn these fast. This is at about 1,100. You're going to hear it. I need to lower my tools just a little bit more for this tool. Make sure you don't touch the jaws there. But you're going to hear it like bouncing around. It's going to hear that. You'll never get that round safely when it's like that, with a piece out there like that. If you turn it up, I mean, at 3,000 RPMs, listen to the difference of the cut here. Big difference, much smoother, and actually safer at this speed. You just want to break the corners off before you try to do any deeper cuts. I'm going to do a killing cuts with the side of the tool here when I get close to the tool rest. You don't want to try to bring your tool in this way against it, because that wing can get caught right there in the jaws. It takes about 15 minutes to make one of these finials. You know, the more you practice, the faster you can do it. Once I get into production mode, I don't even keep track anymore. I can probably get about six to 8 out in an hour. Now, can you hear that vibration? That's normal because the piece is overhanging out there quite a bit. Now, if you feel safer, you can bring up your tailstock, but once you get to the thin parts, you do. Yeah, there's a lot of figure in here. It's kind of throwing my cuts off a little bit, but it'll work. When you start getting those thin parts, you do not want to use a tailstock because the pressure of it will bend and crack and snap your finials. So at this point, I'm going to mark right here. This is going to be the very top of my finial, or the very bottom of it, if you might say, that goes into the ornament. And just measure that by eye, and this will be part of the finial that goes in the top. And I want to create a cove right here as a detail, so I want to mark that off. This is all by eye. So now what I want to do is I'm just going to start creating narrowing this down, almost like the shape of a narrow Christmas tree, if you're turning a Christmas tree. I'm going to start at the end and just start working my way up towards the headstock. You don't have to take really deep cuts for this. This is just general shaping at this point. Kind of smooth it out. There's a bump right there that I can see. And you want to really narrow down the end a bit before you go grabbing your spindle gouges. I'll be using two different kinds of spindle gouges, a very small detail gouge, and this is your average 1/2 inch. So that's about as far as I'm going to go with this tool, or I'd have to drop the tool rest down. And that's going to be overkill anyway if I keep on using that. So I'm going to grab me a small detail gouge. I'm just going to create a point on the end there. This is a 1/4, or is it a one? Yep, 1/4 inch detail gouge. It's from Thompson Tools. Very nice. I've got about a 35-degree grind on the bevel there. It lets me get into tighter spaces. I want to bring this in. I'm just going to start creating a point on the end. Tool rest might be a little high. I feel like I'm lifting the handle to cut it, so I want to drop it a little bit. There we go. It's gotten a little bit better at this height. If the tool doesn't feel like it's working properly, check and see what the problem might be. Adjusting the tool rest height, the sharpness of the tool. Okay, so we got that done. So now what I want to do is I'm just going to do a kind of a deep dive into here. Almost like creating a top bead here. I'm going to start with the flute up and the bevel rubbing. And I'm just going to raise the handle a little bit until I feel it start cutting. I'm going to bring it up just a little bit higher because that's a little bit too close there for the shape I want. We can adjust as we go. I got a cut. We're going to do that. So I can take a lot more of this down now because I got a general idea what it's going to look like after creating that V cut. Because each of these are going to just get a little incrementally bigger as we work our way up, or that's the hope. And now I'm just going to do an opposite cut here, bevel up, do a turn, come in the opposite direction here. Now I'm just going to kind of round this part over. I'm going to give it more of a raindrop effect. Just like that. I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to touch it with some sandpaper. I don't worry about going down the lathe at this point. Your sandpaper 180 is going to actually help you shape this point, smooth it all out, get rid of any tool marks or ups and downs, and it'll help you round over the highest point of here and kind of shape it. I don't put a really sharp point on the end because they tend to break off, so I kind of round it over with the sandpaper a little bit. All right, so we got a good shape going there. So I want to grab me my larger spindle gouge. And we're just going to start taking some of this wood down. Let's see, which one should I use here? I'm going to try my Glazer one on this one. This is a detail gouge too, but it's bigger than the one I've got. As you can see, I've really cut back on the bevel there so I can get in the tight spaces. And we'll see how this one cuts. So I want to move my tool rest over just ever so slightly. Kind of line it up a little bit better with the piece. There we go. And we're just going to kind of create a half a cove, working our way down to this one raindrop there. And then we can just turn the tool, kind of do that V cut, kind of clean that up, get a little more narrower. And the thinner you can go with these, the more delicate they look, of course. So some gentle, nice cuts here. And we'll just clean that little bit up right there. And maybe turn the tool on its side a little bit, just kind of put a little V cut right in there. That way it looks kind of separated from each other when you do that. All right. I want to take this down quite a bit. Nice gentle curve. The bottom there, just like that. And this needs to come down a little bit because it is a, all right. We're going to stop there and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to use this bigger tool for this one. Get the bevel rub and lift the bottom of the handle up. And just do another V cut there. And you can see it's a little bit bigger, maybe. Either that or it's the same size. We're just going to kind of cut away some of this wood, get it out of the way. That way we can do a little bit more of a deeper cut right here. There's a kind of a full mark there. I want to kind of clean that up, which is really light cuts. There we go. And that needs to be a little bit rounder for my taste, right there. So you want to sand as you go. That way you don't have to come back to it when this piece is thinner and more flexible. And just kind of curl up the sandpaper here, just kind of get in here and helps create that shape right in here. There we go. That's a little bit better looking. We're well on our way. You could do 3 or 4 of these type of shapes on the finial. I've done up to 6, depending on how long it is. Let's see, a lot of this away. Once you made several of these, you can pretty much just get it done by eye. Not having to do any measuring or anything like that. And you can see I'm getting thinner right here. I don't want to go too much thinner because you don't want to go thinner than this one that's at the bottom. So it's just going to look kind of awkward. I'm going to separate the two there. I'm going to take this down a little bit more. Not a whole bunch more. That way we can make this, pull this part a little bit bigger. All right, so get the bevel rub and lift the back of the handle, do a twist and a push in, just like that. And we can just gently kind of use the tip of the tool to round all that over. Then we can take some of this down. And I want to take a bunch of this away. This is where that cove is going to be. In fact, I'm going to kind of make a smaller cove or just move it up the piece of wood a little bit. Give me a little bit extra wood to play with here. So, and we need to go a little bit deeper with this cut. All right, now we just need to pare this down. A little bit more off right there, round this over a little bit better. Right now I'm just getting the general shape and then I'm going to come in with sandpaper and clean up that one area we just did. And I'll hold your breath, right? You've done enough of these, you'll be surprised. You'll learn how resilient wood is. I've had some of my ornaments, my small ones like these, and it's spinning around on the lathe. I'll get this little thing down to like a less than a 1/16 of an inch, and it'll still be on the wood or on the lathe, just spinning just as fast as ever. And then I'll turn off the lathe and grab it in my hand, and it just pops off. So you can go really thin with wood without it breaking. You just got to work with it to learn all that. I'm just gonna take a little bit more of this down, just kind of eyeballing it, looking horizontally here. So clean this up. And then we're just gonna do that diving cut right here. Right under where that clove is gonna go, but we want to clean some of this down. Towards that, give you some working room. Make this a little bit more round right here. And clean this up a little bit. And need to sand. Even I forgot to sand this section, so I'm just gonna hit that really quick. You see it's kind of flexing now. You want to be gentle. This is the time you don't want to be too heavy-handed with anything, including the sanding. So it's a little bit thinner right in that area, maybe just a tad, not much. There we go. Clean that up a little bit there. I want to clean up this area right here. This is where this kind of grind really shines. You're able to get down in these little tight spots. Just like that. I just want to create more of a little bit of a cove type curve coming down this way. There we go, just like that. I'll clean this up. Now the cove goes really quick. So I didn't measure it. So there's a little, this is a little bit shorter than the other ones, but it still looks nice. I'll clean that up a little bit. Down in there. All right, stop with the sanding. Now we're going to create that cove. So I'm grabbing my normal size 1/2-inch spindle gouge. And I just want to kind of start roughing down some wood here. You want to stop down in the middle. You want those two curves to join up. You can get pretty narrow doing this. You can get way down in there. So I like to leave this pop bigger diameter than the bottom of the cove. Give it a little bit more of a design look. And I'm just going to touch this down. It's a little bit big for me, so I'm just going to take it down a little bit more. Let's come back and got my flute almost closed away from me. Do a nice little slicing, slight cut right down there towards the middle. And you can use the tip of your tool here as the shape of the cove on the bottom by going back and forth a little bit. There we go. I'm gonna turn it over here. There's kind of a tool mark right there I want to get rid of. Otherwise, sanding would take a while. Same right here, but I'm gonna let the sandpaper take care of that. That's a little difficult to get to. So I'm gonna get a fresh part of this sandpaper rolled over. Just that, or just grab a fresh piece. Probably be easier. And so I fold it into thirds. And I kind of curl it up just like that. And I come in and clean this all up. Yeah, we're almost done. This is the spindle I really wanted to show tonight, so we're doing good.
Yeah, it looks good. Doing a good job, Scott.
All right, so we got that done. Grab that globe here, and I'm just gonna turn off the lathe and decide what kind of design I want to go up against there. So I'm not gonna do anything too fancy. So what I'm gonna do is a backward chamfer this way, and then I'm gonna start creating the size, a tenon on here that will go into the hole. So I'm gonna grab me my veneer calipers. You always want to measure the hole, because like I said, you can accidentally touch the hauling tools on this hole and it will actually enlarge further than 5/8, which is the drill bit we used. There we go. Just what we want. So we just want to go a little bit smaller because the glue will, I use wood glue to put these together, not CA glue. CA glue does become brittle over time. And you don't want these things falling apart when it's sitting on a tree after it's been passed down to family members and things like that. So, all right, so I'm grabbing my parting tool, my regular parting tool. And I'm just going to come in on a slant right here and create a slight chamfer right there. But first I want to kind of go in just a little bit. This is where the tenon's going to be. I'm just going to go slightly in to make this cut a little bit easier to make. So I can come in on this angle here, just like that. That looks good. And I touch it with the sandpaper, but be careful. You don't want to get any of those crisp lines. So you don't want to really round that part over right here. All right, looking good. I'm just going to open this up just a little bit. And I know I'm not there yet, but I always like to check just to get an idea how far I've got to go. And I will cut it back here in the back. That way, if I go too small, I still have enough wood there to correct the size before I put it in the piece. Almost, okay, that's good. So I want to go just a little bit smaller for that wood expansion when you add wood glue to it. And there's one thing I'm going to do that I've noticed some wood turners don't do when they make these type of ornaments. That's good. It's a little bit of play. Is they don't undercut this area under here, especially on a shape like this one, where you can see you really need a good undercut there so it'll rest nice and firm against the body of the globe. So what I've done is I've taken a pin turner's parting tool and I've grinded it on a skew angle just like that. So when I come in here and I hold this at an angle, when I get to the bottom, this will be flat against the tenon. But when I come in like this, it's going to create that undercut. Like that. And you go a little bit deeper. Almost there. And that should be pretty darn good for this. There we go. Touch it with the sandpaper one more time. Then we can part it off, grab the thin parting tool. Where did I put you? Right there. Turn down the lathe. You don't want this thing flying across the room. Back up my tool rest just a little bit for this tool. And you don't need to leave a whole lot, but you need enough just to add strength to this when it's hanging from the bottom of that globe. So I'm just gently touching it and letting it pop off in my hands. And we'll see how good we did with that undercut. It should fit right up in there, just like that. As you can see, there's no gaps.
Nice
union.
Yeah, that's because of that undercut. I've seen so many of them where they just cut it flat and then they got a nice design, but then there's a gap all the way around. And
yeah,
right.
you know, and you can see the tenon and everything. So I try to dress that up as best I can. I'm just going to pull this piece out just a little bit. It's just going to be a very small, kind of flat, pancake-like finial. I need to trim that part off there with the parting tool. So I'm going to get a couple of tools out of the way so they're not underfoot. So I'm just going to part this little thing off here. It's really not needed. And it'll make shaping the top a little more difficult. It's fighting me because I got the tool rest too high for this tool, but I'm still getting it done. That's holding the handle up too high for it to cut right. All right, so we got ourselves our 1/2-inch spindle gouge. And what I want to do is I want to move the tool rest, swing it around quite a ways here to get the right angle of attack. There we go. And turn up the lathe a little bit. So we're just going to make us, a nice soft curve right here towards the top. It's like this. And then what I want to do, I'm going to just bring in my parting tool and create that divot, a little tiny little divot. That's where the screw eye will go. Be sure that there's no little nubbin in the way. And then I'm going to grab me make sure I get the right one. My pin vise with some very small drill bits. These are perfect for screw eyes to go in. And you just kind of slide it in there and make sure you go in straight and slide it straight back out. If you're not careful enough, you can snap that drill bit right into the piece of wood and then it's just shot. You got to start all over again on a new top finial. So I'm just going to remove some of this wood here. Get as close as I can up there towards the jaws. And then I'm just going to do one more cut here. I'm going to follow that same path. But I'm going to stop short. This is going to be kind of a design element on the top. Just like that. I'm going to grab me my very small detail gouge. I need to raise the tool rest just a little bit for this tool. Too high. So don't get lazy about this. If it's too high, you want to adjust it again. Now, the reason I'm doing this is sometimes you'll get tear out just like that along the edge there. So this is going to clean that up real quick. See, we got the flute closed. You just want to grab that corner right there. Just like that. Let's just draw it out, kind of clean that up. Do the same thing on the top. And we'll make sure all that nasty tear out. There's a nice crisp line right there, which there is now. That's good. And there's a little bit of a line right there. So I'm going to use my heavier spindle gouge here and just kind of clean that all the way out. Kind of a little groove in the wood. That's another thing about stopping and looking at your work with turning off the lathe. Gives you an idea what's going on there. And just touch it up with a little bit of sandpaper. And we can turn the lathe down a bit. Now these I generally spray with a satin acrylic Krylon or the same type but using lacquer. But I won't spray. I spray all these separately and then I glue everything together. So I got the oil on the glue, which I prefer over the spray, especially on burls. That's just my feeling about it. Not necessarily everybody's. All right, there we go. Let me grab me a, oh, where did I throw them? There's one. Grab me a screw eye. And I don't glue my screw eyes in. The reason being, it allows whoever has the ornament to be able to gently turn the screw eye to where it's hanging on the tree, so you can see the part that you want to see on the ornament. If you glue these in, it's just kind of, you're just stuck however way you want to do it. And you just hold it up there and it goes right in. So now we need to part this off, making a tenon. It's like we did the bottom one, but smaller. So we want to measure the inside with the veneer calipers. Man, all right, everything's getting sort of tossed around now. There they are. They're under my parting tool.
Yeah, I've never had that issue either.
No, me either.
Nobody ever has. No wood turner has, right? No woodworker has.
Yeah, I didn't know that could even happen.
Yeah, right.
I usually find mine underneath of all the sawdust.
You're amongst friends, Scott.
Power savings. I got this pole with a big heavy magnet on it. Before I sweep anything up, I go through it like this.
Yeah, good idea.
I swing just to make sure.
Now, you guys have seen the box I built with the magnets that sits on top of my lathe headstock.
Yeah,
that's what that's for.
Right, but it's only as good as you put your tools up there.
I have three of those calipers in that box.
Great. So I'm going to do the same thing for this. I need to turn it up just a little bit faster. I think I got the tool rest a little too high. So, and the tool rest is close to the jaw. So I do want to adjust it with the lathe off. It's a little too low. And I'm going to move it a little bit closer. Safety, safety. You want to make sure everything's safe and locked down before you turn on your lathe. There we go. That's better. And I want to leave enough wood there to create that same chamfer I did earlier on the bottom, so they match. It's like that. And we're going to undercut this one. It doesn't need to be as extreme because the top of the ornament is more flat. But you still want to undercut it just to make sure everything seats nice and there's no gaps in between the globe and the finials here. This one's a bit smaller. This is only going to be like 3/8 inch. So be careful when you're measuring it, getting this close to the jaws. If you feel more comfortable, turn off your lathe to do that. Okay, it's still a little too big, so I just took the main part down. So I'm just cutting the depth half there. There we go. Just a little bit of play. That's what I was looking for. And we'll just take this down. I'm going to double check that. It's right up against the bottom. I'm sure it's going to go in the hole, which it will. That's good. So now I'm just grabbing that one parting tool. It's on a slant one more time. Do that undercut. So I just start on the outside here, just take a little bit of that chamfer away. Because the piece is so thin and small, it's going to vibrate on you a little bit. That's all right. I've never really had them come off at all. Just want to make sure that everything's nice and even there to where the calipers measured. And you want to touch this chamfer one more time on the back, just because we made that cut. You want to stop and make sure there's no tear out where that went through. That looks really good. This demo went really smooth, thankfully. Last words, right? Here we go. We're gonna screw something up.
You got it.
That is way too high for that.
As the kids say, let's go.
Yeah, I just want to make sure this is gonna. Man, that's way too small. Too high. See, this is a whole different kind of parting tool than your normal one. So you gotta really adjust your tool rest down a little ways. you don't want your handle up. You want it either straight or down, the back of your handle. There we go. And this thin parting tool also has a groove in it. It's got a little flute right in the top. So it creates like two little teeth right here. And that's how I was able to make those tall trees that I created those deep, thin grooves in. This is the tool I used to do it. So I'm not gonna take this all the way off. I'm just gonna get it. See how thin that is right there? Look how resilient that wood is. Didn't break off or anything. I've made ornaments that stick out this far. When I was parting it off, I didn't want them to fly out the room, so I turned them that thin. And they just spin there, no wobble, no nothing. There we go, just like that. And we got that. It looks really good on the top and on the bottom.
Do camera screen.
Well, let me get it like this first. So you guys can see
Yeah,
that
looks
there's no gaps. Finial
Very
looks
nice.
really cool.
And it's
Beautiful.
beautiful. That is
That
beautiful.
is.
Good job, Scott.
I'm gonna have to try some of those icicle finials. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Very nice.
All
Great
right.
job,
Thanks,
Scott.
Great
Thanks for
job.
sharing,
You
man.
did a good job, Scott.
Great demo, sir.
Thank you. Hope I didn't talk your ears off.
Thank you, thank
No,
you.
no, no. Excellent.
Oh, what do you,
instruction.
huh, what do you say? All right, we're gonna pop, folks, we're
I
gonna
love it,
pop back
Scott.
in.
You're
Quick
right. You're quite
galleries.
welcome, everybody.
We have a few minutes left. We have a few galleries. We're gonna go quick. So if you're in a gallery, let's go rock it. Dane, let's have it.
All right, so let's see. Up next, we got birdhouse.
All right.
We got birdhouse Bob.
Hey, how's everybody
Yay,
doing?
Bernard.
Hey, Bob.
I made a couple of ornaments here. Made this one out of. It's
Speckle fly.
I love it.
I know y'all surprised to see me make something like this.
Oh, yeah,
Love
absolutely.
it.
Never
Something
make
else.
anything like this. Completely surprised.
That's another one that I made.
Ooh.
I like that roof.
Wow, you made that?
That's a spectroply.
Yep.
Wow.
And
Very
then
sharp.
I like that really expensive Christmas clip he was using.
and then I made this one.
Ooh.
Oh,
I
yeah.
did some
Oh,
wood
that's
burning
pretty.
on.
That's
I can
pretty.
This is for round birds.
Gets
Gets round
Wow.
to it. That's his flower to get his food from.
So how'd you do the painting there?
How did you do the art?
Oh, I did this with wood burning.
Yeah.
Wood burning and then colored pencils.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Cool.
colored pencils. Nice.
Thank you.
That there, you got to have a nice surface to use colored pencils. Very good.
It's sanded
Yes.
to 600. It's sanded to 600.
Yeah.
There
You
has to
gotta
be
have a
something like
smooth
that to be
surface
able
to
to get
do
the
that.
color.
Good. Thank you, Bob. Who's up, Dane?
Now we got Tim Hatch.
Hey, how's it
Tim,
going?
let's go.
everybody? All right, so went out and I was trying to make a couple little ornaments. So I made one of the candles that Mark was showing us. And then I made a bell. Nothing spectacular, but working on my slicing cuts, trying to adjust my friggin' spindle gouge to meet Mark's. Not quite there yet, almost. But made a nice little walnut tree, and that one there was done with a skew. And
Nice.
Good job,
no,
Tim.
no sanding required on that one. And then the final thing I got is made a yarn bowl for my
Oh,
sister-in-law.
nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And
Nice.
I like
You'll love
Faulty
that.
pecan.
Yeah.
It's got the 3408 on the biggest problem I had was I actually broke that hook. So I glued it back on, and then because it was spalted, so it was kind of spongy, put it back on with some super glue and then hit it with that 3408 to just harden it right up. And that thing is rock hard now. So good to go. So I can now ship that off to my sister-in-law for her birthday. But Merry Christmas to everybody. Great
job.
demo, Scott.
Very nice, Tim.
Merry Christmas, Tim.
Merry
Thank you.
Christmas.
All right, let's go to Jim Duxbury. Jim, you still out there? I'm not seeing him on here. Maybe he got kicked off. Well, let's go to Joaquin.
All right, you got me?
I got you.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, Eddie and Bob Moppet have created a monster on me. This is a box full of birdhouses here. I won't show them all, but I'll show a few, you know. But you've got.
Oh, I like that.
I like that.
Awesome.
Oh, nice.
Then I had some red cedar. I thought, and I made this in two-tone.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Put some shingles on this roof here.
That's cool.
Well,
that's
may have to start calling you Birdhouse Joaquin.
This Texas Ebony though is my favorite. And I really like it.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah, I
is
like that.
really nice.
I like the angles on that.
Yeah. And then I made a lot of these sea urchins. This in here, it's
Oh, wow.
got the gold plate on it. Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Nice, Joaquin.
Got an angel turned.
Oh,
I like that.
I usually make those with the wings on it, but I been too busy on birdhouses to make those. With the wings.
beautiful.
I got a Texas
You can
Ebony
make the
bell.
bottom of that into a birdhouse.
Oh, nice bell.
That's
I love
pretty-
Texas
A
Ebony.
roof for a birdhouse.
That's gorgeous.
Could make one out of that.
Yeah.
And then we got this one. It's got a clanger in it.
Nice.
That's of course I had to make
You've been
another
busy.
offset tree.
Wow.
Those are so
Good
cute.
job, man.
Is that tree from that storm coming through?
No, it's
Blew it
the
open?
spotted hackberry is laying around.
Right.
Got started on it and finally finished it.
Hey, Joaquin, on that tree, was that a easterly or westerly wind?
That would be a southeast wind, permanent wind here in Corpus Christi, Texas. Hey, I don't know whether y'all do any of the kits or not for gifts. This here, there's a lot of keychain rings out there. This is a secret knife compartment here, which this is one done out of deer antler. It all screws and you screw it back in.
Oh, cool.
I have no idea what good use it's for, but people love them. Sell the heck out of them.
I've not seen one with a knife in it like that.
Yeah.
They make great letter openers.
Yeah. They done screws like this, Brenda.
Yeah. Well, I've
Mhm.
done a lot of the secret compartment keychains, but never seen one with a knife in it.
Well, this
Yeah,
is
where'd you get the knife?
at the gun shows. I used to do the gun shows, and man, these went at the gun shows just right. And that's
Oh, I
especially with
bet.
the deer horn.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
And this is
So
just
where did you get that kit from then?
craft supply.
Wow.
And here's my biggest hit for Christmas, and that's the pizza cutter.
Oh, yeah.
But
When
you want to
invite
get
us
these
over
from
for
Craft
pizza?
Supply also, because you can unscrew the handle and wash it.
Yeah.
You know, I get a wood turner's wife. My wife washed ours in the dishwasher, ruined the wood. From Craft Supply, they're good. The ones from Penn State, they glue in. I don't like them as much, but
That's
make-
the one I've got, and I washed it tonight. Yeah.
When you invite us over for pizza?
uh, anytime you make the trip down here, we'll have it. I guarantee.
Now I know all I gotta do is call Joaquin next time I'm in Corpus, right?
That's right. Give me a holler.
Yeah, sounds good.
We can't have pizza. We'll go out and have seafood.
There you go.
All right, one more. We got time for one more. What do you got?
One more. Well, let's end with this.
Who is
fella.
that?
That's Scott.
Scott, where'd you
Mr.
go?
Christmas.
That looks like his jam chucks.
this is the third set of this tub of jam chucks and glue blocks that left over. I keep this under my lathe. You can see how deep it is.
Wow.
I keep it under my lathe, and when I get done with a glue block or a jam chuck, I just toss it under there. I've emptied this 2 times this year. This is the 3rd time I filled it up in the last 3 months.
Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah, I've got 5-gallon buckets like that, Scott.
That's what I use. 5-gallon buckets. Chlorine buckets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That way I can stack them.
You know, you say wood turner never throws anything away. After about 3 buckets, I got to throw one of them away or go through it.
Right? Yep.
You can take those things and make perches out of them. You wouldn't have to throw that bucket away.
Yeah.
I find stuff to do with these. I really don't throw them out. I got a big like crate in my wood shed in the back, and I just keep them in there because I find I use them for like inserts for top of boxes and all kinds of stuff. Because some of this is nice wood, so I just don't want to toss it like it's nothing.
Right.
Yeah, we're with you. None of us want to keep it or want to get rid of it. You know, we always want to keep everything.
Yeah.
Anybody else, Dane?
No, there's nobody else on the list unless I missed you. Then speak now or forever hold your peace.
Who's Mr. Christmas out of Elf City?
That was
Scott Hampton.
That's me.
It's Scott.
That's me.
It's Scott Hampton.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know we were working by aliases around here.
See, I'm watching you. I'm watching everybody. See,
Yeah. Yeah. You started it, Eddie.
I'm trying to keep an eye on you because I might have to skip your house on Saturday night. Don't want that to
All right,
happen.
everybody.
Hey,
So,
Santa, give me a chance. I can explain, okay?
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Halfway there.
I
So
didn't
next
ask
week,
take just some Carter and Son turning tools. I don't know if you're gonna bring those or not. That would be cool though, if you could.
I've got.
Yeah, just in case anybody's wondering, my size is a 25 by 25 foot shop.
Well, I tell you what, if Santa Claus is bringing coal, I'll just throw it in the forge and we'll be good.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Coal is easy. That's easy.
Hey,
stuff.
we've done
Merry
pretty
Christmas,
good tonight.
everybody.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. And
Everybody.
look, we behaved ourselves. That show us your crotch really didn't get caught on by y'all knew
Get
who
a
we're
little
talking
personal
about.
here now.
Everybody on their best behavior.
Yeah, he just showed
all
up.
right. So
Must not
So,
have been.
hey, so listen, so next week I'm scheduled to do a demo. Is there anything the remaining 43, 45 people would like to see?
Have you got a special?
I'd like to see a pen turned between centers, no mandrel.
Yeah, that would be
Works
interesting.
for me.
I hate
Yeah,
pretty good.
It's a nifty technique for other items also, including pizza cutters or Joaquin. You
Yeah.
can do your pizza cutter this way.
Mhm.
So,
Well,
all right.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I have any pin kits.
okay.
You don't have any freedom pin kits?
Oh.
Ooh.
Well, all right. Well, I guess I could do a Wall Street, I guess.
That'd work.
It'll work for us. Hey, we're in overtime, folks. I want to wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. I hope y'all take care. Be good, be sweet, be safe. Be here next week.
Save the chat.
Thank y'all.
See you next
Yeah.
week. Merry
All right,
Christmas,
y'all.
everybody.
Merry
Be
Christmas,
safe.
everybody. I'll see y'all
Merry
next
Christmas,
year.
everybody.
Yeah,
Happy
have a good one.
Festivus. Don't forget.
Save the
Festivus.
chat. Save the chat, Eddie.
Oh, yeah, save the chat. Can't forget to do that.
Yeah.
Save the
Links
chat.
in there this week.
Y'all take care.
Night, everybody.
All right.
Night. Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas,
holidays.
everybody.
Merry
Auf Wiedersehen.
Christmas.
Have a good weekend.
Zhang
Good
Dao.
week.